What's up, everybody? Welcome to the KCM semifinals. We're getting started here with the first Zerg versus Protoss on La Compañía. Let's get it started. Alright, bringing up our lineup here. It's looking like a great semifinals. Bisu best, YSC Snow versus Hero Queen, Soma Sulky. I'm so glad we're getting a good Protoss lineup here.
I'm glad we're getting a Protoss lineup at all. I think we had some scheduling issues the last time round. I kind of made fun of them for that, but look at this lineup. So good. Got Hero, Queen, Soma, and Sulky. Absolutely phenomenal players going up against Bisu, Best, YSC, and Star. Really like both of these lineups. It's a shame we don't have the likes of Rain, maybe, but to maybe step in for YSC, but you know, we can't have everything. I think it's still a really great lineup, and we're going to have some great games here soon.
Yeah, maybe YSC's got something special for us. He's being sent out first here versus Hero. There's a lot of, new stuff that can come out on La Compañía, you know? There's some room for innovation here, I'm sure. We'll see what old YSC has planned for us. Is he gonna go for some sort of crazy cheese here? Will he be hopping a probe over the wall? What's gonna come down here for old YSC?
Well, he's definitely got quite a few options to him, especially with this map's a little bit peculiar with how you can get this expansion in a sneaky way in the back here, but at the moment we're just going to be seeing probably a Forge Fast expand with an overpool. I think we might even be seeing the Nexus come down a lot sooner than that Forge as well. He sees the timing of that pool, knows there's not going to be a 9 pool or a 5 pool or anything too crazy, so might be throwing down that Forge a little bit more delayed here.
It looks like he's still going to get the Forge before the Nexus, but he gets in there, he checks, he sees the timing on that pool. He's going to juke around here and try to block this hatchery. It's very annoying, but look at that. Hero does get it down, and we're going to send the probe back inside the main just to check and see how many links are actually produced here. And then just about to start, this should be on time. The Hero won't be able to get any damage. So, you know, a pretty good opener so far for YSC, but the opener is just the beginning, of course. Oh, only 2 links were produced, so actually Hero kind of realizing from the timing of this probe that this is not a gateway pressure. That's great for him. He's going to be able to get that third base online a little bit faster.
Right, there was a little bit of a mind game won there by Hero because what we could have seen instead was YSC like being really greedy and throwing down the Nexus first in that situation and just kind of calling and hoping that Hero didn't call the bluff there and just made like 6 Zerglings from those initial 3 lava. But instead we saw just a single pair of Zerglings to escort the drone to make the 3rd and getting the extra 2 drones out. But there was a little moment there where he could have been greedy and gotten that Nexus and then run the risk of being punished by Hero, because he should know that Hero, even though he's a very well-rounded player and can play all these different styles, he does tend to go for a more eco-cheese style of playing more often than not. So he could have anticipated that and gotten away with a little bit of greed there.
That's true. We also could have seen YSC do something like sell the gateway expand a little bit better by sending the probe a little bit later. You know, he saw the creep there, but didn't reveal the probe at first, and then sent it in a little bit later. If he would have delayed that a little bit further, it could have been kind of hidden as a gateway expand. He also could have attacked the drones a little bit more, because if you're hitting those drones on the mineral line, it makes it feel like a zealot might be coming, and you might end up losing a drone, so you might overproduce lings. But everything kind of evening out here with the openers. No player really far ahead right now. There's been a lot of corners cut on both sides, not producing those slings and producing that later cannon. Now we've got the first zealot on the field. He's going to send that straight across the map.
Yeah, and he's also getting a Citadel very quickly, so he wants to do a little bit of an early tech play here and either get straight into that Zealot legs or maybe even go for a bit of a DT play here. There is Lair on the way, so that eventually the DT will be dealt with if he does go for this like DT rush start. I don't think he's going to opt for that. I think he's going to kind of mix tech a little bit. He's still going to get that Stargate. Yeah, okay, so we're going to be seeing just a bit of a pressure build here, I think, just getting this really early Citadel for a little bit of an early timing here. Maybe catch Hero off guard. Once he sees that this Corsair's a little bit delayed, though, that will signal to him that there was a bit of a tech play here with the Citadel first. So I'm sure Hero will be completely devastated by that if that does transpire. Does manage to kill off the probe scout, which is nice. One little small victory for him. Speedlings kind of dotting around the map a little bit, making sure nothing comes out. One thing you do not want to let the Protoss player do is sneak out a Zealot or something, so making sure there's nothing happening like that while making sure he's getting his infrastructure set up. Fourth macro hatchery going down, Spire's on the way now. He's going to be going into about 5 to 6 hatcheries worth of production, going into Hydras and putting on a lot of pressure onto YSC, but not before YSC squeezed out this Templar Archives extremely early on, saying 5 minutes 30 that finished up.
Oh, we're going to have a very quick DT here, it looks like. And is this going to be a Corsair DT play, or is that even a thing anymore?
It is a thing, but I don't think we see it very often. I'm not necessarily sure he'll commit to the Sair DT. He may just use that to get straight into Storms really early on, but it's possible. He might try and kill off some of these Overlords right now, keep making some Corsairs, and yeah, start to get out a few DTs out onto the map, and that could be a really big trouble for Hero if he doesn't anticipate it.
Ooh, getting us around on the first Zealot is huge. There's the first 2 DTs moving out. He's going to get as many kills on these links as he can. No, he just walks right on by. Just not going to reveal that those DTs are even on the map right now. Could get into this the third base location. Does it have an Overlord? I think there's one to the left of that base, but there's nothing here in the natural to block, so he may be able to run straight up into the main. This is huge, getting right past these defenses here. Gonna get a few drones in the natural. Hero not paying attention. YSC getting so much damage here. There's one Overlord in the main, which is huge, but a bunch more drones are going to die, and there's just pure Lings to defend against this. This is not good enough to kill both of these Dark Templar. They still have so much damage, so much DPS to bring to the table. Even if you get a good surround, they're still going to kill a lot of the Lings. They're going to actually win this fight as well. Good God. All the Lings are dead, and now the drones are going to be under threat once again, and the Spire is getting damaged as well.
Wow, absolutely phenomenal play from YSC. He's done critical damage already. Hero's scrambling right now. He's trying to mitigate as much damage as possible. He's doing drone after drone. Finally, the mutas are out to try and bully back these DTs. So many drones have gone down during all of this. Great control from YSC, really showing that maybe he was the pick to go for in this lineup, and he's got some builds and ways of playing planned out to help deal with these really strong Stellar Zerg players. Really impressed by him thus far. Really nicely done. And now he's going to be transitioning to a much more standard way of thinking. Just going to be getting up to like 5 to 7 or 8 gateways worth of production. He may have to get an Archon if a Hero here tries to commit to some sort of Ogre Zerg style and tries to build a lot of Mutalisks. So he's going to have at least 2 Archons here to like kind of bolster the point defense of these forces that start to come out onto the map. He'll have a very small amount of Zealots initially, so he doesn't really need a lot. He just needs enough units of the Protoss imagery to break through these formations, which will only have like a single Sunken and a couple of units here.
Yeah, this is going to be really scary for Hero. Not a lot to defend right now. He's just got a few mutas here. He's going to have to avoid the Archon the best that he can and target that Archon with the Sunken Colony. He's doing a great job of it so far, and that Archon's going to die. So now the mutas can actually hold everything off. He's going to lose a few drones here to these Zealots, and the next Archon makes its way to the front, but does end up backing off. That was a really decent hold by Hero, picking off one Archon, kind of slowing things down here. He should be able to get another wave of drones out and start to kind of recover from that early damage, but there's a lot of Corsairs here.
Yeah, there's a lot of Corsairs. Hero anticipates those Corsairs. We do have quite a sizable flock of Scourge as well to counteract that. It's going to come down to micro, like things usually do in StarCraft, until one player gets a pretty sizable lead. So this is definitely YSC's advantage right now, but Hero does have enough forces out on the map that he could flip this game a little bit if he can somehow take out some of these Corsairs with these Scourge and then flip the game on its head by overpowering him with the Mutalist for map control a little bit, taking out some of these High Templars that he's now starting to squeeze out. So it's possible for Hero to recover and stabilize from here, but YSC has managed to found some small lead thus far and could turn that into a bigger lead right now. Has quite a big fleet of Corsairs getting in position with their +1 upgrades to try and deal with these big flock of Scourge that are kind of sharking around right now for Hero, but +1 Carapace has also finished up for the Scourge. They will be able to tank some of these shots quite significantly and will not die as quickly as maybe YSC would like them to, now moving out of a small contingency of Zealots and an Archon to try and put on some pressure now, while the Corsairs also maybe looking for an opportunity to come out onto the map, but the Scourge have been very active and not letting them come into support.
Yeah, blocking those Corsairs from supporting. Ooh, really close to taking a shot there from that Archon. He's preventing the third base from coming up, and he's denying an attack here from YSC. So Hero playing this out beautifully from a disadvantage, and he is going to get pushed away for a moment, but Scourge are here really threatening this area. He hasn't brought back an Archon to push this away. He wants to keep the Archon out on the map as a threat rather than as a defensive tool to try and get this third base up, and Hero's really punishing him for that. He's getting out a ton of Hydras now, and his drone count is looking not too bad. So we're actually going to get into a long game. I thought that YSC was just going to bowl over Hero after doing all that early game damage. It felt like an unlosable position, but it's starting to look more and more winnable here for Hero.
Yeah, he still needs to be very careful. He's not out of the woods yet, but Hero did do a very good hold and did really quick. Hold the phone. He's losing so much HP on these mutas. All of the mutas have gone. Most of the Scourge now too. YSC looking very potent now, as pretty much all of that air fleet has been dealt with, and now these Zealots and Archon out on the map don't really have a lot to contend with besides this flood of Hydra. And if you can get some High Templars out on the map and start storming these clumps of Hydras in a minute, it's going to be really tough for Hero. So Hero wants to try and buy as much time as possible right now. See if he can come in here, bait some storms, skirmish with the Protoss player, and try and even out the forces right now. Because at the moment, as it stands, this is a very difficult army to deal with if he came onto the map. So that's why we see Hero just camping by his Sim City and his Sunkers right now, because he knows he needs all the Sim City and static defense to fight against such a sizable amount of Zealots like this, especially when there's a single High Templar with 2 storms as well. Now the High Templar's boxed in and killing so many of these Hydras. They can't quite get out the way quick enough, and now Hero looking in a little bit of trouble as he gets some of his army shaped up. He needs to come in desperately for a flanking Z from the west-hand side, making sure he can box in some of those Zealots, kill as many as possible on their exit. He needs to reduce the Zealot count desperately, while YSC also wants to try and maybe even double expand at this point and get up into 3 to 4 bases gradually, while Hero wants to come out onto the map and put on some pressure. He might even need to expand himself or tech up, because I'm not sure he's going to be able to break YSC. There's such a strong Protoss infantry standing army in the middle of the map right now.
Yeah, and that back base, which had been denied for so long because of that air force from Hero, now can go down uncontested. We're switching fully over here into Lurker right now, and there's no real gas for a Muta switch or a switch back into Muta, so YSC should be able to take that completely free. Oh man, Lurker's running up on top of this. The first wave of Lurkers here are going to be used incredibly aggressively. Great storms though, blanketing on top of those Lurkers, and actually hitting a lot of the Hydras as they run forward as well. Hero being so aggressive here, just running up on this. He gets a snipe on a Templar, he snipes another one, but the storm comes down in time and blankets a ton of the Hydras on the left-hand side, forcing everything back here. I don't think you can continue to be aggressive right now as Hero. It may be time to take a 4th base here.
Yeah, I think it is time to take a 4th base. One thing we can say is that he is preventing the timing on this 3rd base for YSC for quite a long while. So he can kind of get away with dealing with this sort of Battle Zerg style, just throwing units at him at the moment. But as soon as he gets this 3rd base online and ramping up his own production, thinking, yeah, we're going to need this fourth base. So Hero wisely taking this fourth in the northwest quadrant of the map. He will be needing to get that online himself as well as he starts to mine at this third base of his own. Look at this big flood of Hydras just waiting, getting loaded up in some Overlords as well. So he's going to go for some sort of Doom drop. I think he might try and kill this third base. This third Nexus is on low HP. It's possible he could just drop on top of this third Nexus and maybe just pop it.
Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. He sees that. Oh, and the drop down here as well. Wow, so cool. I think he wanted to bait the probes to go to the third base there, but they actually get sent to the main. Yeah, I think he can kill this, man. The Corsairs are way out of position, and he immediately recognizes it, sends his army down here. Oh, YSC is right on top of this, though. His army coming in right away, but the main base is a little bit exposed. Here we go. Some storms are coming in here. Lurkers going to burrow. Probes are going to have to be pulled away from this position. YSC a little bit slow on that, losing quite a few probes here. And this Templar could get sniped. It doesn't have the energy for a storm. Coming in from multiple angles right now. Hero just ripping YSC apart. And he gets those two Templars. Well, that's a huge win here as Hero takes that fourth base and clears out the main. Oh man, YSC is going to get in here, but I don't think he actually has enough. He's going to lose so many Overlords though. Oh man, there's so much going on the map right now. It's kind of crazy to cast this.
Yeah, it's a really great multi-pronged, multi-layered attack here from Hero. The one sequence that didn't quite go his way was this evacuation of the Overlord, so losing a lot of that Overlord fleet and now being really heavily supply blocked, but does have a sizable army coming in, and it's boxed in this Protoss army quite critically on into this third base area, and now with the forces split up like this, he can start to really come in here and to really rip YSC apart. He needs to desperately get these High Templars out from the natural expansion up here to help, and the Hydras are trying to bully them back and screen away this reinforcing army, while the rest of the Hydras come in and just rip this expansion to pieces, decimating the Protoss. And now another Overlord with a Lurker drop in the natural expansion. We're shutting down mining there, maybe killing a lot of these probes. So really great play from Hero, absolutely all over the place today, really on fire. I can see why they've been picking him in these weeks. He's just been playing like an absolute god recently. I'm really happy and really pleasantly surprised to see him. GG.
Wow, so impressive to see Hero bring this back from a deep deficit. YSC just not able to close there. The Doom drops were so potent in bringing Hero back in this game, and if only YSC had been a little bit more defensive with those Corsairs, that couldn't have happened. That's really what those Corsairs are there for after the Muta threat has been removed from the game. Sniping Overlords and preventing drops, that is their function. They just were not in the correct place at the correct time, but Hero gonna move forward. I can't be sad about that. We've got more great games, guys, coming right up. Okay, game number 2. This is exciting, guys. We're gonna have Snow versus Hero on Invader. This fantastic new map that we haven't seen that often, but guys, I am really excited to announce, if you haven't already heard, that this is a new ladder map now. We've got this map on ladder, including this map plus all the other ASL maps have just been added to ladder. A universal win for Blizzard, I feel.
Wow, that's actually really cool. I'm excited to see what some of those games are going to look like. It's really nice. I'm sure people like Artosis are going to be happy about that. You usually see them complaining about the map pool not being updated for quite some time. I'm sure there's a lot of players out there that feel the same way, not getting the maps updated. It's definitely a nice change, I think. A big win for Blizzard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been one of those complaints that's just been going on for so long, and it's such a free win, really, for Blizzard to do something like that. There's no cost to them at all to just use the ASL maps. Like it takes them 2 seconds to add that to the map pool. It's not like they have to develop the maps on their own or anything like that. So I'm shocked that they hadn't done it up until now, but maybe bit of that Microsoft influence coming through. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're gonna see way more games on this map, as well as some of the other ASL maps here coming up soon on the replay side of things. But for now, Snow here, gonna go ahead and grab a Nexus first. Damn, so he's completely identified what's coming here from here. He's even blocked the natural and forced the base over there to the third. So he's gonna get away with so much here. This is the maximum greed right now, going for a Nexus first straight into Gateway.
Wow. By the way, Hero is so good. Okay, so right now we got like an economic arms race between these two players. We went for a 12 hatch. We put that at the third base for Hero here. And Hero Snow's response to that was, well, I'm going to just go Nexus first then, buddy. And Hero's like, well, okay, I'll just take another hatchery. And Snow's like, yeah, but I can block that with my probe. And Hero's like, no, you can't. And he actually gets the hatchery down. And I'm kind of blown away by that he was actually able to bully away the probe enough to buy enough time that the drone had just barely enough frames to actually get into animation to build the hatchery. It's really, really impressive by Hero. And they're going to be just going up into a normal game after the fact, throwing down the gateway, and then the pool, and the forge, and the gas. They're doing more or less the normal build order after the fact. It's just the way they're navigating right now is really aggressively economic focused, and Snow going to be going straight into that fast core as well, not wanting to waste any time building any cannons or anything he doesn't need like that right now. But he will have to eventually make one cannon, because Hero could kind of call his bluff right now and make some Zerglings. But right now, Snow knows that he's built enough drones that he only has room to make one pair of Zerglings, because he's now supply blocked. So until that Overlord hatches, he knows there can't be any more than 2 Zerglings coming to him. He's confirmed the amount of drones that Hero's made.
Right. So we are going to have that cannon here at the front, and it will finish in time. So Snow going to be completely safe here. And yeah, I love what you were saying about that third base able to go down there before the spawning pool ever came up. Looks like these Lings are trying to run by. No, they will be forced back. I think that's one of those things that doesn't really get talked about often enough. You know, Artosis does talk about how there's that RNG factor of SCV dancing on top of the building. You don't hear it very much, but there's a bit of RNG to whether your drone does a little spin, like a little doggy getting into his bed before he throws down the hatchery, or not. And that can be the difference between getting your hatchery on time and being delayed by, 30 seconds or more. Because you have to throw down, or even longer if you have to throw down your spawning pool, or you have to fight the probe to try and get that hatchery down. And he got a bit of RNG luck there, combined with some skill and pushing away that probe. He got the 3 hatches up before pool. He's going to be feeling really good here, but first Zealot's coming across the map. It actually just puts on a little bit of pressure and then backs away because Ling speed is done, and that's quite a few Lings.
Yeah, it's actually kind of scary. As long as he doesn't get distracted by chasing around the probe, which he shouldn't, then there's no way the Zealot could come into the third base in time and kill some drones. A lower ranked player maybe would attempt that play while trying to distract the Lings out of that, but once seeing that Ling speed and someone of Hero's caliber, he understands fully there's no way that Zealot should come in there and risk dying for free. So going to be just backing off after maybe trying to threaten him to make some extra Zerglings if he didn't make any already. Going to be getting his, I think, +1 air weapons on the way, +1 weapons on his ground as well. Then probably going to go into armor. Is Snow wanting to ramp up his technology and his armor and his upgrades as quickly as possible to try and catch up in the curve of this game. He knows he's a little bit behind, not by much though, since he'd go for that Nexus first, so he's still pretty comfortable himself on his side of the fence, but still probably slightly, ever so slightly behind Hero, I would say, at the moment.
Hero's got a pretty decent drone count right now, but he does have to produce some sunken colonies because this pretty quick +1 upgrade here has just kicked in, and speed is done. So the SimCity is going to be incredibly important. We've got Zealots hitting multiple locations at the same time. He's going to try and get some drones here. Lings are going to be popping over here to this third base. Some mutas coming out here, but a little bit too late to save all these drones. And one drone actually gets caught behind the mineral patch there. That sucks. I think we're going to have to see a extractor made and canceled here to get that drone free. Zealot's coming back into the third base while one runs into the main here. There's one at the natural too, blocking the mining. So Snow doing a great job multitasking right now and hitting all different locations at the same time. Hero losing quite a bit of his economy. We'll push everything back now, and since the Zealots have been pushed away, and we've got map control back on the side of Zerg. We're going to be able to hit a big round of drones here and kind of catch back up in that count.
Yeah, I would say that right now it's looking like this could get out of control for Snow if he's not careful. Someone like Hero is very good at navigating this like early to mid game phase. Snow is really strong once he gets going though. So, oh, look at this damage in the main base of Hero. These two Zealots going absolutely nuts right now. So much damage is being done. Not only are these drones dying, but they're not mining right now. That's also one of the bigger factors, is that they're not actually producing any additional income for him at this present time, and there's a lot of drones not mining at the moment. So yeah, really bad news for Hero. He doesn't lose too many more. Oh, he gets another drone. Snow's absolutely insane. He was manually clicking on those drones to find the low HP ones. There was only 2 that were one shot, so great play by him, managing to pick off another one of those. Archon now on the way to provide more anti-air splash against those Mutalisks that are going to be flocking and sharking around soon, while he slowly gets up his fleet of Corsairs. He needs at least 6 of +1 to be able to start one-shotting these Scourge consistently. Right now, Hero are going to be also going to be transitioning into that pure Hydralisk production to put on more and more pressure going into the mid-game phase.
Spreading out the Mutalisks all over the place here. He sees this incoming army and has to start producing a lot of Hydras here to hold this off. Otherwise, he could end up losing quite a few Overlords at the bare minimum. That's a pretty decent setup there, with all of those hatcheries on the left-hand side and the sunken tucked away in the back. He is going to be able to push this away. Oh, moving shot here from Snow. Nice split up there, though. Hero going to keep most of those Mutalisks alive, but not a large... Oh, another one getting caught here. Great job by Snow. It's very difficult to get that moving shot going, but he does it excellently. Now going to be able to come in and harass some of these Overlords. We still don't have Overlord speed, and we're going to lose a few. More and more things going wrong here for Hero. And just going to retreat to the high ground here and fight these Mutas. Snow backing away very nicely onto a third base. He's looking fantastic right now.
Yeah, the one thing you can say for Snow is that he's able to get away with making this third base with only 6 gateways worth of production, which is actually pretty impressive for a Protoss player. You do want to try, if you can, to get this third base with 5 or 6 gateways, but it's usually too hard to accomplish, and the Zerg just has too much. So you end up having to go 7 or 8 gateway typically to kind of use your offense as also as your defense and a protective shield to be able to get this third base. So one thing we can say for Snow is that he seems to be able to get this third base and get away with it for the time being, but Hero's looking pretty potent as well in this game, so not too sure if he's going to be able to put on enough pressure to deny this base going up for Snow, but it looks like that these Corsairs are going to be affording him enough map control and keeping Hero back that he's going to be able to get away with this and then throwing down his macro production after the fact. So now going to be ramping up his gateway count all the way up to 8 or 9, but he might get a snipe with his hatchery. He has to cancel it.
Ooh, that's rough, having to cancel that right now. And at the same time, an army moving forward here with some Templar as well. Storms could come down on these big clumps of Hydras and kind of annihilate this position, but he does back away, recognizing that he may be getting overwhelmed here and surrounded there with Hydras coming up from the rear. So Snow just falling back for now. Gotta keep these Templars alive, though. Gonna run straight up on top of that. Get the snipe. Very nicely done here. Hero not even trading out a single Hydra for that kill. Meanwhile, pressuring here at the third base. But are we going to see a Lurker transition here, or are we going to get a Mutalisk switch? A switch back into Mutalisk. There's still quite a few Corsairs, but we've got 1,000 gas in the bank. There it all goes. A ton of Lurkers being produced right now. You're going to get really aggressive here with these Lurkers. Try to take some of these high grounds right outside of the Protoss base. This is getting spicy.
Yeah, Snow knows he cannot let this high ground ridge that he's standing on right now be given away to Hero for free. He's going to have to make him pay tooth and nail to come up onto this high ground. Make sure that he doesn't get too close and encroached on these positions with these lurkers. It's very difficult for Snow to deal with that once that transpires. And now he's already having to back away to that high ground area as we see the setup in the middle of the map here. Big flood of Hydras on the left-hand side and lurkers in the middle in the main battle Zerg force, ready to engage at a moment's notice. Snow knows knows he needs this choke point, this high ground position now is really important to him. And Hero going to be rotating around to his northern peninsula threshold to kind of threaten the natural expansion area to try and draw this army out of position potentially. And Snow's going to make a little bit of a careful decision here because he's kind of getting lurker contained. He needs to deal with this, but at the same time, he cannot give away this high ground position to the south for free. And he's going to be losing this forge and his upgrade now taken offline. He's got the +1 armor, but he hasn't got the +2 on the way yet. So it's going to be tough for him to have to navigate that going forward. He's got a lot of Zerg units he needs to deal with. He needs some kind of advantage to work with. He's not going to be getting the upgrade advantage anymore. He's got quite a few High Templars out in the field, but not really the kind of main infantry force that he needs to break out of, contain this strong. Look at the supplies right now, 145 for Hero to 140 for Snow. This is really indicative of a very sizable Zerg lead, and Hero just going to be pumping more and more units and ready to engage this Protoss soon.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many big engagements thus far between either player, but somehow Hero has managed to navigate himself into a reasonable position here. We've still got a DT down at the bottom center, which has been kind of darting in and out, trying to harass the drones at that new 4th base. And oh, the Overlord's getting caught here. Not enough Hydra's protection at the rally point, so he does lose quite a few of them. A big force of Hydras hiding over here on the left-hand side. I don't know what that's for, but I guess it's going to catch these Zealots, which are moving out right now. Oh my god, there's so many storms here ready to go, but Hydras are so slippery, able to navigate away from those storms and keep themselves alive. I don't know what that was for. I guess that was for a counterattack. He was expecting maybe Snow to try and break through his ranks there in the middle, try to break through those lurkers in that contain, and then come in from the side and pick off that base. But Snow a little bit too good. He's keeping an eye on all parts of the map, making sure that there's no counterattack paths that can be utilized here.
Yeah, Snow's doing a good job of crossing his T's and dotting his I's, because one small misstep and just his army being out of position just for a small moment and it can all be over for him. I can't even emphasize that enough. His army can be swallowed up at a moment's notice against such a big swarm of Zerg like we see here, trying to come out into the middle of the map. Great skirmishing storms trying to blanket onto these lurkers that are burrowed in the front here. But now Hero going to be pressing on that western flank yet again and forcing Snow back. He's trying to draw Snow out of position over and over again. He knows that he needs to threaten this counterattack on the left-hand side just to keep Snow back and keep all this army completely isolated. He also has a sizable force set up outside the expansion area of Snow to either set up a contain or come in and kill some raid units, which he's going to go for now. Now that all this army's been consolidated on this high ground area, he's going to go for a two-pronged attack here and get ready to set up onto the left-hand side when Snow now starts to pull back to deal with this attack in the natural expansion.
Yeah, that natural expansion attack we're not getting on screen. There it is. He's going to get quite a few of these Dragoons. Trading out a few Hydras for Dragoons is amazing. Running up on this high ground, though, is pretty crazy. Going to try and get up here. And you're right. He is going to force him to fight tooth and nail to take this high ground. Lurker's going to keep rushing forward here, but storms are going to drop right on top of those Lurkers, killing them off. Very, very good hold here from Snow. Hero forced back, and look at the supply drop here as those lurkers are taken down and Hydras retreat back across the map. A 5th base is coming up for Hero, but that was a massive loss there. He's going to have a hard time holding on to all these positions now as Snow re-macros back up to 160 supply. His army is getting pretty huge.
Yeah, a great defense there from Snow. He's definitely no YSC. He had that set up pretty nicely. Great blankets of storms there. Really nice execution from Hero, but didn't quite have the concave that he needed to engage the army cost efficiently. Now we see Snow coming onto the map with that sizable lead of forces, but needs to be a little bit careful. There's still quite a big arc of Hydras he has to deal with here. Coming forward and trying to skirmish with these High Templars, trying to go for a picks, but then ignoring the High Templars and starting to gun down these Dragoons instead. He understands if he just reduces the Dragoon count here, this could be all over for Snow. Resetting the Dragoon count now could be an absolute devastation. He needs a high Dragoon count to fight these main battle Zerg forces in the middle of the map. Without a high Dragoon count, it's very difficult to deal with a Zerg in the late game phase in PvZ. It's basically like TVP. Once you reset that tank count, it's very difficult for the Terran to restabilize that force and get enough damage potential in their army to be able to deal with the Zerg. So it's going to be a nightmare for Snow if he can't get those Dragoons back out onto the field quick enough, because now Hero could come into this 4th base area and do a lot of damage. Right now, Snow is going to be banking on defending this at all costs.
Yeah, not having enough zealots, sufficient zealots with that army really hurt Snow there. pushing out with just that, you know, medium-sized force of a few Templar and a good number of goons. Ends up getting punished for that. Now lurkers are going to try and come up here. Big storm on that ramp, really ripping apart those forces, and he kills every single lurker here, so zealots will be much more useful, but he's got to make the move forward. Loses a Templar there to a couple of snipes from these Hydras. Just so much damage from Hero coming out right now, and you can see that earlier snipe on the forge is kind of playing a part here, because we're gonna have an upgrade advantage now for Hero, who's getting up into 6 bases. 6 base Hero. We still haven't seen a hive yet, but I think that should be coming soon as well.
Yeah, we see a lot of just juxtaposition here between these two players. The Hydralisks were moving up to the northern threshold, threatening a counterattack at the expansion area, but there's an observer placed there, so then we saw the Protoss army shuffle up to deal with that, and now both armies coming back down to the south. So both players here just trying to get as much positional advantage over one another as possible. It's a real game of chess here between these two players, trying to really outthink one another. We see another little bit of a distraction tactic here, getting this lurker up against this mineral field to force out some Protoss units, then coming for the engage. Now this big force of Hydras wants to come up this ramp here, while Snow was distracted coming down onto the low ground west-hand side. So both players need to be very, very careful how they distribute their forces. Snow, for example, needs to make sure he has high Templars in the back of this expansion to always storm once the Hydras come in. This beautiful spread of Hydras, really hard for Snow to come in here and deal with this. His Dragoons are so clunky that they can't really get the surface area that they need to come in and fight these pockets of Hydras. Beautiful storms, though, going to be backing those away, while Hero unable to get up that ramp and do critical damage into that natural fourth expansion area. Right now, even on supply, though, is here 160 to 160, so looking very good for him. He has 6 base worth of production. If he can just get into here and keep trading army with Snow, eventually he probably will be able to win this game. He just needs to keep trading somewhat cost efficiently. Even a 50 to 50 efficiency rating would be enough for Hero to win the game from this position.
It's crazy. He still doesn't have the hive. My goodness, these storms are insane, but coming in from the back with a ton of lurkers here, and Hydra is going to be hitting this army, pushing everything back. I don't think Snow can actually break through here, but maybe he can trade out efficiently enough that the follow-up attack can break this position. However, just huge amounts of lurkers, Hydras hitting the field right now. Hero just unrelenting here with the production. So many hatcheries being rallied to this forward position. He's going to dive forward on top of some of these Dragoons. Maybe he can get some key snipes here to reduce this Dragoon count. Coming in from a wide angle here. A ton on the left and right, both hitting at the same time. The storm's blanketing everything, though. Oh my god.
Wow.
Destroyed, absolutely destroyed there. I really thought that more Dragoons were going to end up going down, but beautiful storms just wrecking that position.
Kind of crazy storm saying Snow's playing like an absolute god right now. Like, honestly, Hero probably should have won this game against most Protoss players. He would have just swallowed them up. But look at Snow here with this counterattack on the 3 o'clock as well, taking out this drone line while having his forces pressure the bottom left expansion. Hero wants to keep engaging these forces over and over again, but look at these storms as he tries to engage, losing so many Hydras to these Psionic storms. Beautiful storms from Snow from start to finish in this game. Those 3 Zealots still raining down havoc on this 3 o'clock position, trying to get on top of those Hydras while the drones come back to mine here. Finally, Hero going to be dealing with those Zealots by sending a small contingency of Hydras to deal with that and mop that up. But look at this, all the drones are trying to be evacuated, but they get splashed down by the Archon. So many drones going down, having to evacuate this position as well. Hero losing this base is really a bit of an issue here, because he's now going to be down to 2 bases worth of economy. He's mained out on his main and his natural, and now his third is almost dried up as well. He's only got this base at this 3 o'clock, which is only just now being resaturated. So now he hasn't really got a lot going for him. It's basically like 1.5 bases worth of economy, since he can't mine his bottom left, saying.
Well, this is a nice move. You're going to be able to trap the Protoss army down here in the bottom. He should get the Hydras together and kill this small contingent over here to the right-hand side. And then the rest of the army is going to be trapped on that high ground. Now, Snow will be able to eventually, you know, bring up more forces to kind of sandwich this. But a move like this can really put the hurt on a Protoss player Another Zealot army moving around the side will have to be contended with, will have to be stopped here by Hero if he wants to stay in this game, because that's one of his last mining bases, as you were saying. These drones are going to start to go down really, really quick, so Hero going to have to pull those drones away. Oh, great lurkers spines here from the low ground. 5 kills on that lurk. I'm not sure how many on the other. Drones are going down here at this center right base, though. Zealots are going to finally be cleaned up, but there's not much economy left at that position. Snow mining on 1 base right now, as is Hero.
It's actually kind of crazy. Oh no, sorry. Hero's kind of mining on 2 bases because he has this 5th base area to the sort of 630 location, but he also is not really saturating his bases properly at the 3 o'clock, and his 3rd, which is now starting to be mined out, he's now just starting to saturate that base. So he's finally going to be able to keep up with Snow and production for a short time here, but it's really tough for Hero to have to deal with this because he's slowly getting his forces dwindled down to a nub by Snow, just being relentless in his pursuit of this southwestern threshold of the map. And he's I can't believe that he's able to take over the quadrant this efficiently, but he's having to work really hard for it. He's still got 4 Templars blanketing these Hydras as they start to set up a bit of a flank here. Hero's desperately trying to get any kind of position that he can come in there and start to mop up these forces. He needs to cut off the head of the snake before Snow can keep reinforcing it over and over again. If he can't do that, he's going to be in a bit of a trouble here. This Battle Zerg style cannot stay relevant forever. He needs to do a lot of damage soon, and he can't let the Protoss player take another base. He needs to win here and win here now if he needs to, if he has any hope of stabilizing himself in this game. Because unfortunately for him, Snow will eventually checkmate him by taking this expansion in the bottom left. There's not going to be a lot the Hero can do about the hive tech.
Oh god, so many storms, man. My poor Zerg eyes. Just watching a Hero play so well here and just not be able to do anything with his Hydra because there's a storm for every occasion. You get a storm and you get a storm and you get a storm. Oprah Winfrey over here just handing out storms by the dozen. Snow blanketing everything that comes forward, and I think this is the breaking point now. Snow has out-skirmished Hero in this game and will now finally break down this hatchery, and with that falling, I don't think there's much hope left of a win in this game for Hero. Yeah, coming forward here, just Dragoons en masse with tons of storms to back them up. More than enough to deal with this Battle Zerg. And yeah, we just not going to be able to take it any further. And guys, I did say earlier that, you know, Hero was going to get the upgrade advantage, but if you don't get the Hive, you can't get +3/+3. And so he never got that extra upgrade, and he never got ahead of Snow there. Now Snow was able to get the +2/+2. He eventually would be getting into +3. I didn't see that, if that was finished or not, but you just can't stay on Battle Zerg forever. You're gonna have to transition eventually, and we just didn't see that there from Hero. Okay, game number 3 with Soma versus Snow. We're here on Polypoid, our most standard map. Well, maybe equally standard to Vermeer in terms of just you know, normal 4-player map with plenty of expansions around. And we'll see if Snow actually goes for another greedy build here. Soma, a bit more of an aggressive player. We're liable to throw down that earlier spawning pool and try to get some pressure going here.
Yeah, both players are really on top of their mineral optimization for a while, until just now. They were manually boosting the second patch from the bottom just to squeeze out a few extra mineral cycles in this game here. Every little helps. And looks like we're going to be seeing a nice little gateway expansion up against the overpool from Soma. I'm really happy to see this on both sides. I wanted Snow to go for a gateway on Polypoid here, and I really do like Soma not wanting to take any chances and just getting this overpool to be extra nice and safe. I really like that.
Yeah, this is the most standard way that Zerg versus Protoss plays out on ladder. This will be the build that you see the most often from either the Zerg perspective or the Protoss perspective. It's kind of essential that you learn how to do this build. And oh my goodness, is someone gonna take the center left? This is the closest base to his opponent. This is a little bit dangerous here. You know, Soma, once he figures out where his opponent is, he might be kind of forced into going for a really aggressive play here. It's gonna be very difficult to defend this base.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an issue for him. He did kind of take a bit of a gamble here. He did have the Overlord checking the bottom right, saw nothing, so he knew that it wasn't bottom right, but he didn't really have time. The Overlord only just got there, so he kind of was forced to take it at this location. He wants the third gas guaranteed, I think is what it is. He's got something planned out which involves this third gas, and he needs to take both, so unfortunately for him, going to be taking a little bit of a weird situation and having to deal with expanding towards the Protoss player here. May even want to turn this into some kind of aggression, but not going to be able to get in the block on that probe. A little bit of a mistake from Soma letting that probe come into the main base, actually, but not even going to be that much of an issue. We have 4 Zerglings in the natural, putting on a little bit of pressure here, skirmishing around, seeing if they can get around into the main base eventually, but nice block from Snow initially. Nice little micro as well, keeping the probe alive while still blocking the Lings for some time, getting 1 of those kills on those Lings, but 3 do make it into the main base, so a little bit of a precarious situation. While in the main base of Soma, the Zealot and Probe trying to go to work on the drone line, starting to micro really well against these Zerglings and taking them out one at a time while the Snow was distracted, microing in the main base of Snow. But so far, Snow's getting the better end of this, doesn't quite get the probe in the main base, and meanwhile doing a lot of harassment in Soma's main base. So really well played from Snow there, disrupting Soma to the absolute maximum of his potential. I'd say Snow definitely came out ahead of that trade there.
Yeah, I think he came out ahead as well, but I didn't see any drones go down for Soma, so I think he's still going to be okay here. We've got these Zealots trickling over, and this is going to be the problem. This is the difficulty here for Soma, is that this base is so close to this Zealot train here. As they trickle across the map, they're going to arrive super quickly, and we're going to have to produce a ton of Lings to deal with this. 3 Zealots here are going to be able to tuck themselves in that corner as well if they decide to. There's a nice little spot here between the mineral patches there where they can hide. Great surround now from Soma, but excellent microing back here from Snow as well. He's going to get himself into a tight little position here. Still able to get some pretty decent surface area, though, is Soma, and it looks like he will clear this out, but just barely. And yeah, not a bad hold at all. He should be able to transition back into drones from here, assuming he didn't make too many Lings to follow this up.
Yeah, he will be able to make a few additional drones to resaturate. He may even want to go for a bit of a counterattack. Because here's one thing we can say for Soma right now. He killed so many Zealots. So now what he can do is go for a free hatch Hydra potential here and just bust down Snow before he can get going. He's only just now throwing down this Stargate at 5 minutes, which means it'll be a long time before he sends out the Corsair to scout. So he will not know about this Hydra Den for quite some time. So Soma can squeeze out a few of these drones here and maybe go for some kind of pressure play with these Hydras, but it will be very difficult for him to accomplish that because he has to first saturate his drone count, which means all these lava right now can't become Hydralisks. So it's unlikely that he will kill Snow by going for any kind of play like this, but he could do some kind of fake Hydra burst and contain him. But I think maybe the wise decision for Soma here will be to maybe try and play a macro game where he instead just makes a few Hydras to be safe against the Corsair, maybe threaten the idea of some kind of Hydra contain, but I don't think he should go for it right now.
I'm not sure if I agree. I feel like the close position here is going to be so hard to play in the middle late game against someone the caliber of Snow. It's going to be very tempting here to go for that Hydralisk bust, and no, you're right. Drones popping out here. He is just going to be playing safe. A few extra Hydras popping out of the main as well. A little bit more than you would expect if he was just going for, you know, a completely defensive play here. But maybe just going to put on a bit of that fake pressure you were talking about earlier. Gotta, you know, force out extra cannons and then go into additional hatcheries after that. There's the Hydras moving up towards the front. Quite a few Lings with this as well, but there are quite some Zealots here in this wall ready to fight. He's going to run up, start to hit this Forge, and he may be able to deny this. Zealots are going to have to come out to respond, but Lings are here in support. should be able to push these zealots back. One cannon will finish up, though. That's going to be in range to defend this forge, so he will have to back away for now. Looks like a Corsair in the natural here, just looking for some overlords. A lot going on in the map right now for some. This can be a very difficult situation to deal with. He's even going to lose a Hydra here. No, just barely keeping that alive. He's going to run forward, get this one cannon. He really wants this forge right now. That forge, super important in this position.
Yeah, he needs to go quick as well, because once the fourth zealot pops out, it becomes a little bit trickier to deal with this. So he wants to get the damage done now, so it's a guaranteed kill, because he actually made quite a few Hydras. I'm surprised by how many Hydras he made. I guess he really wanted to force a lot of cannons from Snow, and he might even try and snipe another cannon here. Yes, he did go in for another snipe on the cannon because he wants to open up this position potentially on the right-hand side to keep Snow focused on making as much defenses as possible right now. He could also commit to the bust fully if he wanted to. He's kind of had a lot of money banked up in lava, but he's not quite pulling the trigger yet. He's still making macro hatcheries and squeezing out some production at the moment, so he has the opportunity to go for a kill move here, but with this Corsair coming around and checking exactly what's going on, it'll be very difficult to catch Snow unawares by that, so he instead might opt to transition here after forcing Snow to make so many cannons already.
Yeah, it looks like the transition point is coming. We've got an Evo chamber. We've got the layer now. Got Hydras here defending these overlords. Quite a bit of overlord supply has opened up now, so plenty of drones can be produced. We're going to have Zealot speed here, so Snow will be able to turn things around and start to push back these Hydras, but you know, Soma, he prevented that upgrade, slowed that down. He's going to be feeling good here. I don't think we have +1, do we? No. +0. So these Zealots are not going to have that really important time in with the +1 to actually put some damage onto the Zerg. And with the Evolution Chamber finishing up already, he's going to be able to start that upgrade about the same time as Snow. No double upgrade here for Snow as well. No double forge here in the main. So we're going to be even on upgrades, which is a pretty big win for the Zerg overall.
And Snow going to be going straight into that 8 gateway production, wants to be able to catch up in that curve as much as possible. Doesn't have any army to really speak for, so needs to get a big force out soon. Has a small force of Zealots that are going to be trying to fight this Hydra army. He's just barely got the critical mass of Zealots that he needs to get some damage done. If he had any more Hydra in that position, it would have been very impossible for Snow to get anything done there. So just the absolute bare minimum, he needs to take this high ground away from Soma and be a little bit more comfortable in this game, giving himself some breathing room here. Now that he has the 8 gateways, he can come out on the map and be a little bit more aggressive. He can either expand behind this or just put on pure aggression and just put the pedal down right now. Looks like Soma's geared up and ready to kind of fight these Zealots in the middle of the map though, so you need to be careful from both sides here, because one small misstep from Soma and Snow can just bowl him over. These Zealots can do a lot of damage very quickly. They're going to be getting right on top of these Hydras. There's raid units from the third base coming down to help, but he's killing so many of these Hydras. Good control from Snow. Not going to be using too many of these Zealots as he retreats, but so many Hydras are starting to become banked up for Soma. So Snow might have overstepped his boundaries a little bit, which is kind of what I was talking about a moment ago. Like, you really need to be careful on both sides. If one player overcommits too much, and the game can just be over for one side.
Looks like fourth base gonna come out here now. Drones are being added on. There's nothing over here at the center left, and there's a DT on the map. You gotta be very careful here as Soma not to lose a ton of stray drones over at that location. It can happen incredibly fast, especially when there's engages going on the map. You're microing your Hydras, you're producing, you're getting into your next upgrades. Suddenly one DT can sneak in here and get a ton of kills and really ruin your game plan, so he's got to be careful of that. I think we're going to see a Lurker transition here, but equally likely we could see a Mutalisk suddenly spawn out of all of these hatches. He did go for that all-important third gas, as you're talking about before, so 3 gas here have been added on very, very quick. He's got a lot of potential for some early tank here coming out soon.
But considering how adamant he was on taking this as his third, I would imagine that he definitely has that in his plan, so he's definitely going to be banking up on a lot of gas for the opportunity of either a big muta switch here to snipe all the High Templars, or maybe just dump into Lurkers soon. But nice big force of Hydra is going to be denying any Zealot pressure at this third base location. Very important that he doesn't take any economic damage here, Soma, because he needs to be pumping out a lot of units. He has got this fourth base online as well, with the drones coming down to saturate that, so he's going to be ramping up his production a little bit here. We have no third base on the way from Snow, so Soma's not in any requirement to tech into Hive right now. He can just stay on Battle Zerg when he's dealing with two base Protoss, so no real pressure from there. He just needs to make sure he macros up enough units to fight. And here comes this mutalist transition that we were anticipating, but big potential of losing a lot of drones here at this fourth base as the TTT comes in, but drones quick to react and get out of there. So not too much damage taken on either side for the time being, but looks like both players are really stepping up their game and for something to happen soon. And we have enough mutas that can start one-shotting these High Templars, and if Snow's not careful, he loses even just like one or two of these High Templars to these mutas, that could just be enough for Soma to just completely obliterate him in the open field.
Yeah, look at this, diving right in on top of these Templars. He's gonna get 2, 3, and maybe even a 4th Templar here, and with that last Templar going down, Hydras are going to dominate this position. Snow knows it. He's gotta back away here to his reinforcing Templar. We've got none in the natural. Soma has a huge opportunity here to kind of take over this game, but Zealots are going to counterattack around the side. Maybe they can pick off this 4th base while all this chaos is going on. They are just going to try and focus that down right away. And actually, Soma retreating here. He's not going to go for the killing blow. Instead, going to try and save this, and he doesn't manage to save that base. Great thinking on his feet here, Snow. You know, losing all those Templars, really getting put into a very difficult position, but he maneuvered that perfectly there with that Zealot counterattack, managing to force Soma away and give himself actually an advantage now in this game.
Yeah, really nicely done by Snow, kind of like flipping the situation. Oh, beautiful storm on that massive clump of Hydras. Snow, you're an absolute god of your Psionic Storms today. Keep it up, buddy. Really nice to see. Now the Mutalist coming in again, starting to put down some Mutalist Glaives on these Dragoons, while the big clump of Hydras start to go to work on this Zealot Goon army. There is no Storms right now to fight this back, so if there was just barely enough Hydras, he could overwhelm this, but so far Snow's done a good job of holding his own. But right now he's using all of these Dragoons over and over again to Soma, and now Soma's starting to slightly come out ahead on supply. He's going to be mopping up pretty much all of these Dragoons as well, completely resetting the infantry siege count on Snow, which is a really bad news bears for him to have to deal with. He has got 3 High Templars with Storm about to be ready. He's now finally getting this 3rd base online. Probe's just transferring there, but Soma's looking pretty good. Even though we lost that mineral only, he had this base coming online at the 3 o'clock, and now he's going to be taking the gas there, so that puts him up to 4 gas worth of production here. So, and now with the 4th also going to be refinishing up, that's pretty good for Soma. We do have this nice little counterattack from Snow though. He identifies that this base on the right hand side needs to be dealt with. You can't just let him get away with that for free, so it's going to be putting a lot of pressure there and keeping some units occupied and dealing with that for the time being. So might be able to claw his way back into this game in the production curve here, but just like Soma understands that right now all he needs to do is just deny this 4th base going up for Snow, and he's going to be in a pretty good position.
Yeah, I've gotta question the thinking here for Snow. I mean, he did an amazing move with that Zealot counterattack to pick off the 4th, but then, you know, with almost no Templar, decides to move back out on the map again to put on more pressure. It felt like a moment where, you know, just kind of sitting back, grabbing that 3rd base would have been putting himself in, you know, a get more ahead sort of position. But, you know, he tried to win more there by continuing to attack and ends up getting overwhelmed and shoved back. Losing all of that complexity in his army means that lurker transition here is very likely. We can see Soma pop out a ton of lurkers with no Dragoons. You're going to be really suffering here as Snow. Looks like he's producing a lot more of those Dragoons, but still a far cry from the army he had previously. Now going to come up onto this high ground. It appears that Snow is likely to grab his 4th base here, but Soma already with the contingency plan. He's adding on more mutas. Surprisingly, more mutas coming out here. Actually, a shock to me. I really thought that we were going to have lurkers coming out now. And 6 o'clock is going to be taken. So going up to 6 bases, Soma going to take this long.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked right now. Soma's not messing around, but Snow's in a world of hurt, saying he's mined out in his main and his natural. Even though he's got this 4th base coming on, he still will be reduced to 2 base worth of economy and production as a result. And we've got this big fleet of mutas just sharking around, going to be coming in here, taking out some of these high Templars before the fight even starts. So many Hydras out on the field as well. It's going to be a real nightmare situation for Snow to deal with. If he loses even just a few of these high Templars to these mutas, he will not have enough Psionic Storms to weather the storm, pun intended, that Soma's going to be able to launch on him soon. Soma's like really ramping up his own production right now, starting to take more expansions around the map. 6 o'clock's already on the way. The bottom right is also going to be coming up soon. Soma's not pulling any punches here. He really wants to take out Snow soon. The 11 mutas are coming into this 12 o'clock position to start getting on top of these high Templars. Beautiful storms from Snow, but not quite enough for storm dodge here to save the lives of these mutas, kill the 2 high Templars, and now the Hydra's coming into the position to break it open completely. There is some Dragoons to fight these mutas, but Dragoons do not fight too well against mutas. So those mutas are soaking up a lot of those photon shots from those Dragoons. But beautiful storms as these high Templars make their way up to this 12 o'clock position and destroy the Hydras at the middle only as well. Soma needs to be careful he doesn't lose too many of these units to these Psionic Storms. He has a big advantage right now, 146 applied to 100, and he should be able to overwhelm these positions. There's just not enough storms to keep going and keep Snow in this game, it seems. He's starting to overwhelm this mineral only. He's going to be able to kill this Nexus, it looks like, and it doesn't look like Snow's going to have much of an answer here. He's got some army rotating down to his lower ground to come up here to fight this, but he's already lost the Nexus. He's now just fighting for lost territory. It's not a great position to be in for Snow.
Oh, the high drone there in the mix, trying to get the kill. The final shot on that Templar doesn't manage to get it. That would have been epic. The drone managed to get the kill on the Templar there, but unfortunately wasn't able to finish that off. Soma in an amazing position right now with so many Hydras coming across the map. That was some incredible play from Soma, but it all comes back, I think, to that earlier attack. And here we go. He's coming out again, trying to put on the pressure. But I really feel like Snow needs to just sit back right now. There's no way he's going to be able to end this game from this position. Soma is everywhere on the map. He's got huge production right now. You need this 4th base to get going. 1 base Protoss just cannot thrive here.
Right now, Snow is like the last days of Rome. He's stretched too thin. There's no way he can defend both his 4th base and his middle only at the same time. Eventually, Soma is going to gobble him up one way or another. Snow's got a small force on the left-hand side that's now being assaulted. He rotates his army to come down to deal with it, but that was exactly what Soma wanted as this main army force comes through the choke point. But beautiful storms going to be dealing with a lot of those Hydras, forcing Soma to back away. Snow doing a lot with a little right now, but unfortunately for him, the supplies are still heavily in favor of Soma. 150 to 100 supplies still really ahead is Soma. Has now this high ground taken away from Snow. Once again, I don't feel like Snow's going to have enough forces to take it back from him after the fact, so I don't think a 4th base is going to be in the works for Snow anytime soon. This is going to be a little bit of a death by 1,000 cuts from Soma as Snow gets bled off a few units at a time. Soma coming in from behind, trying to pick off one of these high Templars with those Hydras and really start to reduce the unit count one at a time of Snow. He's taking out the Archon as well. Really going to be dwindling down this Protoss army all the way down to a small little nub here and eventually taking him out of the game.
It's so sad to see Snow just making those small mistakes that have become a bit of a calling card here for this Protoss player. I have so much respect for this guy. But it seems like his game understanding, like his real tactical play, is lacking against someone the quality of Soma. He was able to outmaneuver Hero in that last one, but Soma is just playing so incredibly well here with the Templar snipes. And now this overwhelming number of Hydras. Good God, these storms are great, but You know, it just does not matter at this point. Soma could A-click everything and not dodge a single storm, and he should still be able to win this game. GG. Snow taps out. Soma is victorious. And we're going to be moving on to our next game here. Is it going to be Bisu or Best that's sent out to take down Soma? We're about to find out. Bisu going to be sent out here against Soma on Neo Sylphid. Really, Soma able to outmaneuver Snow a little bit in that last game. Some tactical errors there by Snow, but I don't think that Soma's going to have the same ability to tactically outmaneuver Bisu here. I think Bisu, a much stronger tactical player in this matchup than Snow. What do you think, Shin?
Well, I think absolutely saying this guy's got a very long-standing record in PvZ. He's kind of revolutionary in his own right and has basically kind of sculpted and molded this whole matchup in his own image, all from the early days of the Bisu build. He was so known for going for that early Stargate and Corsair style all the way back in the day, and to really kind of turn this whole matchup on its head and showing us exactly the ways you can play this matchup and thinking about it in a totally different light with this sort of Zez or Ser DT style. And yeah, like now in the modern day we've got so many ways of dealing with that as Zerg, and it's really interesting to see how even though we've got these modern solutions to these old problems, we still see the more or less same tried and true way of approaching this matchup that Bisu himself forged in the fires of his mind.
Well, Bisu's not going to be playing his kind of patented style here to start things off. He's gone for a gateway first, and actually Soma, oh nice, getting that hatchery down. He's gone for the extractor trick with the 9 pool here, so he's got 6 slings out very quickly, and he's gonna really put on the pressure here to this gateway expansion. This is scary for Bisu right now. Of course, Bisu absolutely capable of holding on against this, but Soma is going to have a real opportunity here to put the hurt on Bisu, and he's going to have to be super, super careful fighting with the Zealots and Probes to keep himself alive right now. This 6 slings against just 2 Zealots and a few Probes is very scary. Not only do you have to worry about losing Probes and Zealots, you also have to worry about letting these slings into your main base. So that's the main concern here for Bisu, going back and forth. So far, Soma not able to do anything just yet, but he's splitting off some lings, getting ready for that run by. He's going to try for it. No. Backs away here, and a third base is going to come up for Soma. He's really looking for this, and these lings are so slippery, able to keep them all at high HP as well. He's going after a probe. He gets 1. Might get a second probe here as well. Really good control so far from Soma, but Bisu outmaneuvering. He gets the kill with the probe as well, finishing that off. It's a big win there for Bisu as he sends that probe back home.
You hit that probe on 5 HP as well, so just one more hit and you would have gotten the probe. You did delay the Nexus being built for quite some time, but there's still a bit of a win for Bisu. They're killing so many of those Zerglings, and Soma's not going to be too happy about that. Looks like Bisu also going to be sending those Zealots out to cause some pressure while trying to get some damage done on that gateway. Maybe he can pick it off later on, he's thinking. So not out of the woods yet is Soma, but he's trying to think if he can cut his way through the jungle soon. We do have these 3 Zealots though, making their way downtown, going to put on a lot of pressure soon and force out a lot of more Zerglings out of Soma, and maybe even getting some drone kills for their efforts. And they've already made their way into the main base. Soma just can't deal with these right now. He needs to rely on drone drills and buying time for more lings to hatch out of these eggs. And it's like these are going to be coming right into this mineral line and then backing out to go around the backhand side. He understands that right now Soma just wants to drill on top of those Zealots and deal with them nice and cleanly, but Bisu's not going to give him that luxury. He's going to rotate around and start hitting the pool from the other hand side and force Soma to come to him.
Yeah, putting the pool in danger here is going to put a timer on this, but great surround here from Soma. Absolutely fantastic. He's going to completely crush this. So the pressure play there by going onto the pool actually put Bisu in a rough spot. And he lost all those zealots basically for free. I didn't see hardly any links go down there, and speed is done. We've got a Hydralisk in. We're going to have a ton of pressure put back onto Bisu here. Luckily, he does have this cannon just about finished, so he's not going to lose to a bunch of links right now. But I think we're going to have a Hydralisk bus coming out here pretty soon.
It's looking like that will be a very likely eventuality, especially because of how much damage was done to his early game. Right now, he could transition into a normal game, but that wouldn't make much sense because he's already forced, Bisu's already forced like a lot of lost zealots, and that means that there will not be any scout coming out from Bisu for quite some time. And as long as he has enough Zerglings to kind of buffer against these zealots and keep them in check and not let Bisu get too confident that he can just walk before there's any possibility of a Stargate or Corsair scouting them anytime soon as well. So he's only just now starting this Corsair, so he's not going to be seeing these Hydras for quite some time. So that means he won't know how many cannons to make critically. So this could just overwhelm Bisu because he's not quite prepared for it. He hasn't got enough zealots that he can just come out on the map and check to see what's out there as well, because of how many Zerglings there could potentially be. So right now Soma's kind of playing Bisu like a fiddle, but it will still come down to execution, whether or not there will be well enough executed bust here. But with only 2 more cannons being walked in, I think Soma has enough to break through this, and so many lings will come up to help these Hydras as well. So it's really tough for these Zealots to keep these Hydras at bay. There is the cannon morphing in to protect this forge, and all the probes are going to be coming off the line because they need to do so, Sen. Right now, this is a very tough situation for Bisu to deal with. All the lings are just mowing down the Zealots. There's no more Zealots to speak of, and now the Hydras, even though they haven't got speed, it doesn't matter. They can just get on top of this cannon, picks off the cannon, and now this whole gateway and forge position is exposed. He can hit the forge from the left-hand side because of the way the other cannon's positioned, so really tough for him to have to navigate this. Bisu's just going to be throwing down an absolute wall of cannons. He knows that right now he can just die. Now it's going to be Soma's opportunity to shine as he comes in and picks off this other cannon and exposes this forge completely, but Bisu manages to sandwich in the Hydra with the probe and takes out the Hydra.
Oh man, those lings just blocking that Hydra from escaping. A little bit rough there for Soma, but one thing that we have to mention is that it's complete supply block here for Soma right now. Bisu doing his thing. Oh, jumping forward, gonna get another cannon. 2 more cannons are gonna go down. He's gonna be able to kill the forge here for sure, and this gateway as well. So no more zealot production. The forge is gonna go down. I don't think he can quite break this, but he's gonna go for it. Oh, great snipe there on one of those low HP cannons. He gets 3 cannons in a row here, but how many Hydras does he actually have? He's got like 5 Hydras. Speed is done now. He's gonna get a nice little position here. This is gonna be a very, very tight bust. If he does manage to get through here, it's just gonna be by the skin of his teeth. There goes the forge here. 1 cannon remains. He's gonna go for it. The probes are being pulled forward, but it's not in time. The Hydras pick off all of those cannons, and the probes will fall as well. It looks like someone's just barely managed to break through here. With just 6 Hydras is all that's left over, and he does get in there. More Hydras rallying forward now. The bust is complete. Bisu has to tap out. GG. Wow, what a crazy bust there from Soma. So aggressive, this man. From the 9 pool, the early 9 pool. Putting on that aggression there. I thought he was going to be in a bad position, but not enough cannons for Bisu there. And Soma just plays it out excellently, annihilates those zealots, overwhelms with lings and Hydras, and makes that bust work. Very well done. Well, it's a bit shocking to see Bisu go out like that. Soma just on a roll right now, with a very aggressive and low economy bust, managing to take out Bisu. Now he's going up against Best. here on Apocalypse. We've got Best down here in the bottom left. We're gonna have a vertical natural. Another Hydra bust is possible.
Yeah, we might be seeing a lot of Hydra busts today. It is EVP after all, and Hydra busts is definitely one of the big spices in this matchup that can come out in the early game phase from Zerg that can be very difficult for Protoss players to deal with. The intricacies can be quite complex for newer players, though. For example, one thing newer players don't quite understand is that there's different ways of dealing with different openers. For example, against Forge Fast Expand, you can just go for a straight 9-7-3 3-hatch Hydra bust, but when you're dealing with Gateway Fast Expand, you kind of need to, something needs to happen with the Zealots in the early game for that to be possible, because some Zealots have to die, or you need to have a very significant count of Zerglings to be able to then go into the Hydralisks and be able to overwhelm them, because otherwise there's too many Zealots that can come out onto the map and just like bully you and scout you. Usually the potency of the Hydralisk bust is that it remains unscouted until the Corsair is out to confirm it, and by that time the Hydra's already ready to go in and kill the cannons. So usually you need to have a lot of map control to be able to get away with that sort of style of playing. We see here the Gateway first from Soma, and most likely going to be a very fast pre-base play from him. We may see the free hatch Hydra on this map here, but like I said, we do need to see some kind of interaction with the Zealots in the early game for that to transpire and be effective, because otherwise there's just too many Zealots out in the field, and likely the Hydra bust will be scouted.
Yeah, that played a big factor, I think, in that last game. The initial 3 Zealots that made their way into the main ended up getting taken down with very few Ling losses. Usually we would see the Zealots kind of camping in a really difficult position that will end up bleeding off a lot of Lings, and therefore we're going to have, you know, more Zealots going out on the map because the Ling number is so low. But someone was able to maintain such a high Ling count that those Zealots were not able to come out and scout. They were not able to see the Hydralisk coming, and when the bust actually happened, the glut of Lings that was available for Soma just overwhelmed the Zealots at the front. We're gonna have to see Best not get too greedy with his Zealots, make sure that he puts them into difficult to remove positions. If he gets them over here at all, it looks like one Zealot's gonna make its way over here towards the third base, and I'm not sure if there's actually a spot to wedge that Zealot here at the third. I haven't played much Apocalypse yet.
Yeah, neither have I, so I'm completely unaware about that myself. Best doing a pretty good job of keeping this scouting probe alive, but that will be shut down eventually. It's very difficult to get your probe in unaware by this, by the caliber of Soma. He's very good at keeping on top of his Zerglings, but he's so focused on that he hasn't seen the Zealot that's slipping around the northern threshold coming into the natural. Now finally Soma sees it and starts to react to it, sending those Zerglings back to deal with it, but not before that Zealot gets very deep into the main base. Going to be able to at least pull some of these drones off the line. Soma's also very good with microing his drones, so maybe able to navigate away, but he doesn't enable. He loses 1 drone, loses 2 drones, saying that's absolutely unheard of. I've never seen Soma lose this many drones this early game. Best is getting the best of it right now, but intended, doing a great job of getting 2 drones that early on. Does lose it eventually, but that's a critical damage to a Zerg in the early game. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely massive. Even just seeing the Hydralisk den there and no lair would be an amazing moment for Best with that scout. But in addition, being able to kill those 2 drones and really slow down the economy here, it's fantastic. It's insanely good right now. And it looked like actually someone wanted to do the exact same build as he did against Bisu there, going for this huge glut of Lings, you know, getting into the Ling speed and a Hydralisk den at the same time, and trying to kind of bust through here once again. But now he's adding on more drones and being a little bit more conservative with this bust. He's actually still only mining 2 drones on the gas. It seems like he really has this build mapped out. He did the same thing in the last game, just optimizing the number of Lings and Hydras that he can pop out here, just barely mining enough gas in order to get all the upgrades that he needs and the number of Hydras that he wants to deal damage, and I think this is just going to be a wall-killing force here moving up to the front right now.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be more like a fake Hydra bust with like a wall-killing force, pretty much how you described it. We do see that adjustment from Best of having his cannons further back, but that's also primarily because he lost a lot of those Zealots, so doesn't quite have that strong force of Zealots that he needs to be able to bully back the Hydras if he needs to. So going to be making those cannons a little bit tucked in, but that will basically open up his wall to being sniped by Soma. And Soma's getting away with making the absolute bare minimum number of Hydras. Only 6 Hydras here. Usually you see at least 7, sometimes 8 or 9. So absolute bare minimum from Soma. Really well calculated by him to get away with absolute murder here. Going to be really kind of mind gaming Best a little bit, and it's a bit unfortunate for Best having to give away that wall for free like this, but he does scout around the map with these Corsairs and identify exactly what's going on now. He sees the transition. He understands that there's not going to be any kind of threat from the Zerg for quite some time, but he's going to be a little bit salty about having to give away that wall for free.
Yeah, and you know, one thing you can say for Best right now is that he immediately upon seeing the build here out of Soma, he threw down an extra forge in the main, so he can still produce cannons, and he's going to have those upgrades rolling here ASAP. He didn't overbuild cannons at all in the natural either. He's got his gateways up at a reasonable time now, so he will be able to come back out and put some good pressure onto this Zerg player here pretty darn quick, and he's not going to fall behind in his upgrades either. A lot of hatcheries here, going up to 6 hatch Hydra is Soma. I wonder if we're going to see another Mutilus transition here out of him, because he does have that the 3 gas, and it looks like he just took that 3rd gas. We have halted Corsair production as well. No Corsairs being built anymore with only 2 on the field. I think Muto transition is looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I think that would be optimal for him. He is starting to get this 3rd gas online, so he definitely does want to bank up gas for that. It's going to be some time before he has enough gas to do that transition, so for the meantime, he's going to be making lots of Hydralisks. He's going to be building up his Sim City and some Sunkers. He desperately needs to get these Sunkers online. Here comes Best already ready to strike with his big gorilla arms, but now kind of trying to think better of it. Looks like Soma's kind of like tucking in really nicely here with this Sim City and making it difficult for Best to kind of get the surface area that he needs. Best has got the big strong arms, but not quite the big strong mind that he needs to crack open these positions. So it's going to be just chilling back and waiting in the wings for the time being. Soma's so good at setting up these like really impenetrable bases where it's just that everything's mapped out with the Sim City and the most optimal sunken placement. I was a little bit worried for him there that how late the sunkens were, that maybe Best could just come in there and clobber him, but luckily the hatcheries were set up in such a way that he could just reduce the surface area and deny that from happening.
Those gorilla arms are not very capable at utilizing sharp cutting tools. Is not going to be able to get in there and dissect this Zerg just yet. He really needs to get himself into a position where he can smash through these positions. Oh, here we go. Templar. Oh, he snipes a Templar. Big snipe there from Soma, just sacrificing about 3-4 Hydra to get these Templar. And oh, another great storm comes down, but with those 2 Templar being killed, now the Sim City here is going to be so useful for Soma. Only 1 or 2 Zealots can actually attack. Oh, he kills that 1 Hydra. Now he can move forward. He's got to get the egg in position. 1 egg moved over there to the left-hand side. He gets the egg up, but it's not blocking. More Hydras coming down here, but Best kind of getting through this position. He's even going to kill that evolution chamber. 1 upgrade did finish, though, so I think that's going to be fine for Soma. All of the Zealots are going to die. That was a really crazy moment there as those Zealots were coming through that wall. It looked like Best was just about to break through that position, but Soma holds on with the Templar snipes and the reinforcements, keeping himself alive here in this game. That Evo chamber, though, does need to be replaced here pretty soon. Triple Evo chamber here in the main, actually.
Wow, okay, so yeah, we're going to be maybe seeing a transition into Hive relatively soon with these triple upgrades coming online. I would say this went pretty well for Soma. He killed so many Zealots. So many Zealots died during all this. And yes, he killed the Evolution Chamber, but yeah, we've already had the upgrade finished, so I don't think that's going to be a bit of an issue for him. Going forward, I would say this definitely favors Soma a little bit. 94 supply to 116, so it's pretty even still. It's not like Soma's really ahead or anything. Best is still just wanting to barrel down, doing a few fake charges against Soma and keeping him in check. Has quite a few High Templars being built up in the natural expansion force so far. Will be wanting to come out on the map very soon. Is best while he tries to take this third base.
Fourth base here on the way for Soma. Doesn't need to get in here and deny this third from best. He's just gonna power up and most likely go straight on into Hive. Lurkers are in position to push away these Zealots pretty much everywhere they are needed. Zealots are going to try to run by here. Actually, a little bit scary. Okay, he is going to back away. That would have been a bunch more lost Zealots there and a reduction in that force that could have actually triggered a counterattack from Soma. So glad that Best pulled away from that attack there. A drop gonna come in towards the main. Whoa, 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 whoa! Really?
Whoa!
That Overlord, Star Sense, just moving in. I don't think he actually saw that though, because you know he's not really moving anything towards the main. He still does have some Hydras back here and an Overlord, but he's not moving a significant force back here to stop this. Nor is he trying to catch that drop as it's coming in. So this is going to catch Soma a bit by surprise. He does have some forces here to deal with this, but he's going to lose quite a few drones.
This is actually nuts. Like, he didn't see that, but how crazy is it that he just happened to move that Overlord right at that second? Yeah, crazy what you see some of these players do. But sometimes it's a bit of luck. Sometimes you think that it's maybe something like their spidey senses are tingling or something. There's quite a few drones in that main base just now. Kind of impressive from Best that he got away with that damage, considering Soma just was like lucky enough to spot that, but didn't quite take notice of it. And now the forces of Best completely out of position. Might even catch one of these High Templars if he's not careful. It's a really weird situation for Best to be in, but luckily he's not going to lose too many of these forces, and the High Templar doesn't go down. But it would be devastating for him if he lost even just one or two of these High Templars. It takes away so much of the wind out of his sails, and it looks like Soma's objective in this game is to kind of attack the muscles of the gorilla and take away his fighting strength and eventually overpower him.
Yeah, he's really trying to overwhelm him here with the economic play right now and getting into Hive. We're gonna see Defilers out here in this game, and we're gonna see how Best decides is best to actually deal with that. Will he be going for Dark Archon? It's been kind of popular, it's been kind of trendy lately to go Dark Archon in these situations. I'd love to see it. He's trying to break up this high ground. So many lurkers here, actually. This is very scary. Lurkers being brought back from that fourth base to come and try to overwhelm this. Here we go. Lurkers very aggressively running up and burrowing here in the front. The Zealot number has almost been cleared away. A lot more Hydras are making their way to the front. Lings are coming up as well. We don't have Crackling just yet, but Best actually holding this high ground a little bit. The bottom part of this high ground is very important. As long as you're up here on the high ground, it's much easier to fight for your way forward against these Zerg forces. Fighting up again onto high ground against lurkers is always a big challenge. He's just gonna sit here actually and wait until some Hydralists come forward and then take another trade here.
Absolutely sane. It's a great tactical play from Best. It looks like he is considering giving away that high ground, which maybe isn't the smartest decision I've seen, but maybe he's just trying to bait out Soma into moving down and taking that position away from him and then coming back up to engage. Could just be a little bit of a juxtaposition there, but look at this! Huge storms on the front units, and now he's blocking the ramp on the right-hand side as well. Soma cannot get up here to flank this army, and now look at this Silverback formation just shuffling forward and letting those arms just let rip on this Zerg army, skirmishing with him, reducing the supply difference, increasing the supply difference a little bit here. But now Soma wants to try and go. He wants to try and take take down this absolute beast of a specimen if he can, but not able to do so. It looks like so many goons are ready to just start raining down onto these Hydras. It looks like Soma's have to back up a little bit and try and regain some position. Some more Hydras and Lings are coming out from the right-hand side, though, so eventually Soma will overwhelm this position. Looks like Best is going to have to retreat all the way down to the southern threshold now, and a lot of units are going to die on the retreat as well. Beautiful Storm going to be blanketing the Hydras on the exit, but unfortunately going to be losing that high temper for their efforts. So pretty good play there from Soma, but still there is a supply difference of about 30, so I wouldn't say either player is significantly ahead right now, but I am liking Soma's position more and more.
Yeah, Soma has the cracklings out now. He's going to have Defiler here soon. Shuttle making its way here in towards the main. Looks like he's going to be spotted by Soma this time. He's going to be able to deal with that pretty easily with a group of Lings making their way over here to respond. Of course, DT can take out a lot of Lings, but with this number, I think he can just surround and kill. Oh, no reaction here from Soma. Needs to get these on the move. Looks like he will clear that out. Meanwhile, Best moving over towards the top center here, making sure that there's no additional bases. Setting up on the high ground now. Lurker is going to spread out here. It's very important that Soma keeps an eye on this army and moves his Lurkers in response to get the bulk of his forces, the bulk of his Lurkers into position to deal with wherever this army decides to go. He has some good information on the map right now. He's got some good Overlord spread. So, you know, so far he's done a good job of reacting, but Best still has opportunities here. He still has windows where he can sneak in, and he's on 4 base to 4 base, mind you, as well.
Right, I do think the 4 base versus 4 base favors Soma in this position, but one thing we can say is that Best is doing a good job of trying to keep Soma on his toes. The only issue he's having is that, like you say, he's so fluid in his army movements. Look at this spread of units from Soma. He's just set up and ready. There's no real hole for Best to take advantage of. That does sound kind of bad now that I said it, but right now, almost 180 supply is Soma is creeping up to right now. This is absolutely crazy in PvZ, in any matchup for Zerg, to get this kind of supplies. So Best is going to have such a swarm to have to fend off right now, but someone like Soma will still have a hard job controlling this many units, so it's going to be still tough for him to manage to make this happen, but he's going to start throwing Zerglings at Best now, trying to trade some Zerglings off for High Templars, scouting around, trying to shark for what he can manage to get. He has got the Defilers now popping out, so he's going to start consuming those and getting a lot of plagues. There's 2 shuttles coming into the main base to put some Zealot pressure in here. 8 Zealots could be coming out and starting to take out some of these tech buildings potentially, but there is a sunken here of some Zerglings, so he will be able to deal with that attack quite efficiently with some reinforcing units, so not really have anything to worry about. Soma's like kind of got the perfect amount of defense set up to deal with any kind of shenanigans that Best can throw at him right now.
Best relentless with these shuttles coming in over and over again. They don't have speed, so I'm so shocked that we don't have some Scourge down here, and a Storm does come out. Doesn't really get that much. A DT gonna join the fight as well. Gonna be getting some kills here, and it looks like Soma is doing something else on the map. He's not paying attention to this main. He's gonna lose all the drones here. Oh my god. He's just sending his army right now across the map. He's actually pushing everything back, but trading this for the main is not a great trade here. There we go. He will get back and get rid of these units, but the damage has been done, and you know, Best hasn't been broken here. He's not been overwhelmed. He's got his army together still. He's at a pretty decent supply, and he's gonna fight for his own high ground here. Lurker's running up on top of this. We've got the Defiler with the Dark Swarm going to be throwing down here in the front. There's not that many Zealots, not that many Templar here either, so maybe the Lurkers can hold for now. More Lings coming up here to reinforce. More Lurkers as well, going to run straight up underneath this Dark Swarm. Lings just overwhelming right now. Best is going to be on the retreat here. Even though he got a lot of damage in that main, he's being shoved all the way back, and Soma taking the supply lead now over Best as he shoves even more forces down his throat. Defiler here making its way to the front once again. He can get a Dark Storm on this high ground right out in front of Best's natural with the Dark Swarm is very, very scary.
Yeah, control of this high ground peninsula just outside these bases is extremely scary for Best right now, saying, and beautiful plague just blanketing that entire Protoss infantry force. Chili sauce making them so tasty for those Zerg units to gobble up later on. Unfortunately, not able to consume their biomass, but they're still going to be tasty treats for them nonetheless. Beautiful Storm taking out 2 of those lurkers. Best knows he needs to come out on his high ground now and try and do as much trading as he can to buy as much time as possible, while also trading off some gas units. But there's just no way he's going to keep up with the production of Soma for much longer at this rate. It is a bit of an untenable position for him. One thing Best has got going for him is his base on the 9 o'clock is starting to become set up, but it's not mining yet, and Soma's going to be expanding himself as well. We see a small force of Best actually trying to deal with this expansion up here. I think, yes, 2 Zealots trying to take out this expansion, while Best also gets his own expansion online at 9 o'clock. Reavers are starting to be produced as well. Another beautiful plague maybe going to come in. Scarab does get activated on that defiler, but not before the plague does get laid down onto those units. So right now I would say this is heavily favored in the direction of Soma, but there is a small world here where Best manages to hold on and start expanding and building Reavers at all of his expansions and slowly starts to come back from this game. But right now Soma's looking on fire.
Yeah, Soma's position here is so deadly. Right out in front of the natural. He's going to slowly push forward here, forcing more and more storms out to deal with these lurkers underneath the dark swarm, and the zealots are just getting eaten up. They've got plague on them. They're so easy to kill here. They're just very ready Another great plague there. More lurkers coming forward. Not too many though. Every time he's just sending a couple lurkers at a time. Oh, a Reaver up here actually may be able to take out this base. Reavers do deal a lot of damage to hatches, and there's nothing really in the vicinity to deal with that, so he will end up picking that off. That is a huge win. Meanwhile though, Soma pushing forward here. He's gonna get on top of these probes. Probes got nowhere to go. So many of them are going to get taken down, and Best is losing control in this game. Really needs to focus with the lurker shots here to kill as many probes as possible, because eventually the Zealots will clear this out. But another attack coming down here over towards this bottom center. Lurker's going to get right up into here. Great job by Soma kind of holding back some of the lurkers, making sure that he can't all of them get killed by those Templar. And now he's going to go to work finishing this off. No storms were actually cast in the defense of this base, so that is really brutal. Just too much going on right now for Best. He's losing in every different position. It looks like Soma is just barely going to take this one away. Hasn't got another base going right now, so he really does need to win at this moment, but he is taking away a lot of the mining here from Bez. He's killing a ton of these bases, and it's looking like he can win this one.
You hit the nail on the head right there, saying like he needs to win right now. He's got this one final base. He's got all the production he needs. He has still got enough minerals so he can keep his units. Now starting to come into this 9 o'clock position, but beautiful storms, not enough energy on his defiler to make any kind of plague or dark swarm to help him break into that position. He's only got this one base, saying he has to win this game. He has to win this game. He's now killed this base, so he's reduced Best down to just 2 bases, but he's only on 1. It's 1 base Zerg versus 2 base Protoss. Is a really tough situation for Soma to be in for much longer. He needs to start making things happen now. He needs to expand. Looks like Best is even scouting the fact that he's only just now starting to retake these bases as well. So he probably identifies, hang on a minute, you're only mining on 1 base right now, maybe. So I'm in actually an okay position for the time being. The one thing that Soma also has going for him is the fact that these 2 positions of Best are so far apart. So it's a bit of an island Protoss situation, but with Reavers in the in the element, it totally changes things. So right now you can play this more discombobulated style of Protoss, where you've just got bases all over the map and there's Reavers here and Storms there at each of these bases, and you don't need to worry about consolidating. But beautiful catch from the Scourge, almost catching this shuttle, but Best managing to micro that away and save it, not able to be caught, able to retreat to the safety of these cannons. Really well played from Best there, not losing that. Currently evening out the supply a little bit is Best, but so far behind at the moment. 145 for Soma and 133 for Best, which is very indicative of a huge Zerg lead, and there might be enough time for him to catch up here.
DT's flying here into the main. Sorry, I was just biting my fingernails here watching those Templar flying in. Oh my god! Huge storm here, killing so many of these drones. Oh, these situations make my palms sweat, man. This is so crazy right now. With the shuttles flying around, any one of those shuttles getting picked off without dealing any damage could mean a loss for Best. Any big storms could mean a loss for Soma. There's just such important moments happening here right now. That's going to affect the rest of this game. It looks like Soma's still holding this position outside the high ground with so many lurkers. It's kind of unreal. That is a crazy number of lurkers, plus Defiler here as well to plague and continue to throw down Dark Swarms on these. It's going to be so hard to break through this position. Nice storms there to deal with those Hydras that are trying to run forward and maybe pick off an Observer. There we go. We're going to get the Observer, though. There's the shuttle managing to survive. One Observer left over here. We are finally saturated for Soma on these two bases, so back up to about 2.5 base because that one storm drop really ruined the economy there at the top right. But you know, Soma really back in this. He gets another Observer. That's huge, actually. He needs to buy time right now.
He needs to buy quite a lot of time. But right now, Best is slowly becoming mined out. He's losing this economy in this other area. So he's now down to just one base. All these minerals have just become dried up. So he's lost that economy on that side of the map. And he hasn't actually got a big saturation at 9 o'clock either. So his mineral income is very, very slow right now. He has a lot of Archons barreling up at this high ground peninsula, taking out so many of these lurkers and clearing out all of these big minefield of Zerg units in this area, but not without paying a big hefty price of losing a lot of those units. And there's still just so many lurkers back there. I don't know how he's going to break out of this position without a huge amount of Dragoons, and even then there's going to be Dark Swarm to make that impossible. So unfortunately for him, he's going to be relying on Reavers and Stormers. He hasn't got enough of these gas units to make it work. He's trying to got this tight little ramp on the left-hand side, that's making it even easier for Soma to deal with these forces. It's looking really rough for Soma here, Sam. I mean, for Best here, Sam.
Yeah, Best is fizzling out now, actually. It felt really close there with all the damage that Best was getting on those drones, and the fact that he prevented the bases over in the top left for so long. But with this high ground position and Defilers and Lurkers here making it difficult for Best to push forward, I mean, there's not really much he can do, and GG. Best's gonna tap out. That's our final Protoss player, but the week is not over yet. The semifinals have not concluded. We get the clapper from KCM, and we're gonna go to a short break and figure out who we bring back for the Protoss squad. We've got one revive here, one hero who can give Protoss a chance here in this week. Who's it gonna be? Bisu, Snow, Best, or YSC? Those are my choices in order. We're gonna find out who's it's gonna be coming up right after this. Okay, it's gonna be my first choice here. Bisu being sent out with the revive. Going up against Soma. Soma's got hot little hands here. He's been crushing today. And he took out Bisu already, so we're going to be feeling good about going into this match. Of course, this is Dark Origin, so there can be a little bit of craziness here. It's a bit of a wild map. What do you think are your predictions here, Shin? Do you think Bisu's going to be able to turn things around here for the Protoss?
I think Bisu can turn things around for the Protoss, but I also know that Soma's really warmed up right now, and Bisu's only played one game and he's lost one game, so Bisu's got a lot to prove. So it could go either way. I feel like Bisu will have his work cut out for him, and it'll be tough on this map because Soma will be able to navigate this map fairly easily in the early to mid game, but maybe. Do you know what, Sam? I'm just gonna say I feel like Bisu will actually turn things around here, and I think that Bisu will win this game against Soma. I don't think he will beat all of the players in the Zerg lineup, but I think he will beat Soma here.
Well, the all-kill prize is off the table right now, so even if Bisu does turn things around, he won't be able to get that all-kill prize. Neither can Soma because, you know, he wasn't the first Zerg player to be sent out, so all-kill prize off the table. I still want to see more games, though. Bisu, I hope he does manage to, as you predicted, take out Soma here and make this into a really good series. You know, kind of run through this Zerg lineup and maybe take us to a game 8. That's just a pipe dream at this point, but you know, Bisu absolutely capable of doing something like that. Now getting this Zealot into a tight little position here behind the third base is going to be experiencing some pressure here, though, as Lings are sent across the map. This Zealot probably should go to work on that hatch, or maybe try to run into the natural right now, because most of the Lings are out on the map. Okay, Lings are going to come back now, and the Zealot has not moved, so actually great play by Bisu, kind of predicting how Soma's going to play this one out and getting the most out of these first initial Zealots.
Yeah, I can't fault Bisu's way of thinking here, and now he's finally going to start coming out with this Zealot because he wants to hit this egg in case there's a drone coming out. It will be really annoying because if the drone does hatch and he gets a free hit or two on the drone that comes out, he can just kill it for free, but as we can see, that is going to be another pair of Lings instead of a drone, and Bisu's going to be hiding back in that little hidey hole anyway. So one thing we can say about this situation, though, is that I don't think either player's like really doing anything too significant right now. They're just kind of like doing a lot of little skirmishes here. One thing that's really benefiting Bisu, though, is the lack of mining at this third base for so long. So there's no way that Soma can risk trying to make a drone there and trying to mine there. He's going to be going for the 973 as a result. Maybe he even feels forced to do this because of just how things are going right now, but I don't necessarily think he'll commit to a full Hydra bust. I can't imagine. I imagine this is just going to be like a bit of a fake to kind of force a bit of a reaction out of Bisu. It'd be really interesting to see if he does commit to a full Hydra bust here, but I'm not sure how he's going to navigate that.
I think this is going to be the same build he used to beat Bisu earlier. I think we're going to see 2 drones on the gas. Yeah, 2 drones on the gas. Ling speed is going to come. Then we're going to get Hydra's speed, and about 4 or 5 Hydras are going to pop out. Or does he actually skip Hydra's speed with this build? I can't remember if we saw Hydra speed or not. Well, he did get it eventually, but maybe he skips it at the beginning of this build.
Right.
Yeah, he's gonna try and overwhelm with Ling and Hydra once again. Hydra pops out here, and the Zealot sees it. So that's a lot of good information there for Bisu. I wanted to mention that earlier, but wow, more and more drones popping out here for Soma and Bisu. I mean, this is a full transition. He's not going to go for this full Hydra bust.
Right, I was going to say, yeah, I really do think it's just a fake. I think he's trying to, what he's doing, saying, is he's trying to telegraph, I'm doing the same thing as last time. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to telegraph, this is what I'm doing to you. He wants Bisu to react to it like it's that, but really it's a transition. It's just he's really selling it to Bisu right now, you know?
Yeah, he's selling it, and this cannon, third cannon, is not necessary right now. Is he going to cancel that, realizing that this is not a full-on bust? More Hydra's going to come up here and kind of threaten. There comes the Lings. He's going to get this around. I think that Bisu will definitely let this finish, and he's going to save the Overlord as well. Oh, this is great for Soma right now. He's not built the speed, and yeah, he got range instead of speed, so he completely faked out Bisu here, and he's just going to be killing this wall basically for free now.
Wow, this is absolutely phenomenal setup for Soma here. He's such a genius. How does he navigate these early game situations like this? Soma is honestly like the Zerg Flash in a lot of ways. He's not quite on the same kind of like level of accomplishments and like being as complete of a player, but but some of his ways of approaching the game and thinking about it definitely are on a different parallel that I would say to some of these other Zergs. His way of approaching the game is kind of special, and I don't know, unless he's just got like a lot of helping hands from all the other Zergs, and then they've all just like kind of hive-minded everything together, and they've like figured something out. You know, they like now they're all working like, you know, in like some sort of like, you know, collective consciousness. They kind of tapped into a new like level of skill. I don't know what's going on right now, but I'm really impressed by the Zerg dugout. So
yeah, this is such a cool build. This might be kind of a new and special build in its infancy here that we're seeing right now. The I guess it's like 942 something like that drone count, with only 2 drones mining the gas, and then into speed and hydras with speed to bust. But it seems like it transitions so well if you decide not to go for that, because you can completely deny the gateway first Protoss player from scouting the map with the zealots, with the speed lings. Just completely deny that scouting, and then you send just a few hydras to kill the wall, and they have to build a ton of cannons in response, and then you get into this great drone count. Soma's just in such a good spot right now. He's got a huge number of hydras. He's blocking the ramps here. Looks like we are gonna see these zealots make their way across the ramp now. So this has been broken, but back at home, Soma has a ton of hatches. He's got huge amounts of drones, and his production is just gonna be fantastic here. He should be able to hold this zealot attack off no problem.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't make any critical errors here with how he positions his hydras and engages these zealots, he can be in a very good spot. But Bisu is also very good at how he controls his units, so we'll be looking for any potential for to take advantage of a misstep from Soma. He might even try and force a mistake as well, as he keeps trying to come in over and over again, kind of sharking around, looking for any kind of weakness that he can take advantage of. But Soma's also hatched out quite a sizable amount of Zerglings to kind of act as a meat shield against these zealots, and he knows there's no +1, so it takes 3 hits for these zealots to kill these lings, so getting maximum value out of these mineral units as well. Bisu in full retreat, as he understands that he needs to get back to the safety of these High Templars. He needs some kind of splash damage to deal with this many Zerg forces. He has the High Templar, but it's only got 70 energy, not enough to storm yet, as the acid spines of these Hydras rain down on these zealots, kind of trading it extremely efficiently right now. Soma needs to be careful though. Beautiful surface area from the rest of the zealots, getting on top of those Hydras, but is forced to back out. He has the 2 storms available, so if Soma was a little bit unwise and chased across the bridge, he would just get stormed into oblivion. So why is he going to be just maintaining position right now outside of these bridges and kind of soft containing Bisu for the time being, while making more and more units out of these mass amounts of hatcheries? That he's got 6 hatcheries with Hydra production and beautiful target firing on these zealots as well. Now maybe trying to catch one of these High Templars. Nice Psionic Storm taking 4 of those Hydras out, forcing a morph into an Archon after the energy is now depleted. And beautiful play from Soma. Has so many Hydras just coming rallied across the map. He will be coming up and killing this Archon for free as well, maybe.
Oh, this Archon, this loss is huge, man. Losing that Archon so bad right now. Gonna lose some more zealots here as well. Soma just absolutely outdoing Bisu here in this game. Looks like a probe gonna come back though. Probe, this is some special tactics from Bisu. He's gonna hop this DT over the mineral patches. He's got to be very careful not to allow that to finish mining, but he does manage to slip it over. Very nicely done. This is gonna slip right in here undetected. Oh, he sees it? No, he doesn't. Soma has no idea. He's building a bunch of mutas right now. Soma going for that play that he's been... Oh, there's an Overlord here in the main. Oh, man, he does spot this. Will he notice, though, in time to save his drones? He's lost 4, 5 drones. There we go, 6 drones. Looks like he does lose quite a bit, but does pull back the remainder of his forces. Zealots on the map are just being completely overwhelmed here. We've got the... mutas out on the field. Cannons are being warped in, but there's just not that many Templar left over. And with that Archon being lost, he just doesn't have much anti-air at all. 5-kill Dark Templar here in the main is obfuscating and hiding himself there at the top part of the main base. So could come back in for some more kills, but there are significant forces kind of defending all of these mineral lines now. So Soma just kind of clogging up all the holes in his defense right now and getting himself into a better and better position with the 4th base now coming online.
Yeah, and he's 101 supply to 114 of Bisu. He's really close in supply. He's doing an absolute fantastic job, and Bisu still on 2 bases as well. So Soma, if he wanted to, can either just like go macro and just get him to 4th base and be happy, or he could even, if he wanted to, try and challenge this 3rd base of Bisu as well. It's a little bit risky to do that coming across these bridges and this tight choke on the left-hand side. So instead, he's probably going to want to be skirmishing around. Tries to get this probe with the mutas. Would have been a beautiful catch for Soma to deny that probe, setting up that nexus, unfortunately for him. But it was a really nice effort for him there to try and catch that one probe with just 2 mutas. I like the effort from Soma. I like the way of thinking. I really like this really min-maxy, really highly efficient, trying to squeeze out as much orange out of the juice way of thinking style of Zerg that we're seeing from Soma here today. So
yeah, it's very funny, right? Did he make just 2 mutas here? Really? Is that what
initially?
Has he made any more mutas though? I feel like he made these. He made 2 mutas just to like get a little scouting going and to scare Bisu into making like 4 cannons in his main and natural. I feel like that's actually really worthwhile and like a 200 IQ play if that's actually what he did. No, he actually does add on more mutalists now. He's gone up to, what is this, 10 mutas. He's gonna try and go for some for some snipes here. Maybe some snipes on Templar. Observers are also a great target. There's that first storm. He kills the Templar immediately. Gonna fly straight through. Look for some more Templar here at the bag. He eats a lot of damage from those Dragoons flying through, but he can come back in here and snipe these Templar once again. Here we go. One more Templar goes down. One more Templar going to fall. Can he get it? He does. He gets that last Templar. Complete surround here with the Hydras hitting from all angles, and just pure Dragoon is not going to be enough. Soma going to overwhelm here in this position. Absolutely fantastic play from him. Once again, going for that Hydra's transition. Oh God! So many Hydras getting wrecked there. That was crazy. Might actually give Bisu a fighting chance here.
Yeah, I mean that was a delicious blue goose sandwich for a while there, just nomming on that. Cleaning house, all those Dragoons just biting the dust, but then the Hydra's getting absolutely annihilated trying to come across the bridge there to that Sonic Storm, so evening things out quite significantly. Just that one storm, isn't it crazy how strong Protoss is? They push one button and suddenly the game's even again.
That's crazy. Yeah, absolutely insane. Just, you know, few Hydras on the reinforcement path. He probably didn't have them hotkeyed yet. They go across that bridge at an odd angle and end up getting smoked. Now coming up here, gets another snipe. He's gonna try and get the Nexus. The Nexus. Oh, he gets the Nexus. Oh, that's so painful, Bisu. He almost had the hold here, but just didn't have his forces in position to keep that Nexus alive, and it took that earlier damage, so it falls very, very quickly. And, you know, these probes do not mine very well. Unfortunately, on this map, if you mine from the 3rd base and the Nexus gets killed, they don't return the mineral patches to the natural. They actually return the mineral patches to the minerals to the main. So it's very, very inefficient because the Nexus is actually closer to the 3rd then the natural, just by air. For whatever reasons, the probes are gonna actually go this direction, so very, very frustrating here for Bisu. He's losing so much mining time here. We're gonna have a shuttle moving around the top side of the map, but that's spotted already by an Overlord. Just right-clicking that on the shuttle means that he's gonna be able to track that down and force it back. All of the options here for Bisu are being removed by Soma right now.
Yeah, he's gonna be going all the way up to 5 base soon. It's gonna be really scary. And yeah, like you say, this is a very old game, Saiyan, so it's based on like the distance of hex tiles only, so that base is closer to that base, so unfortunately for him, he's going to be sucking up that's even worse case for him. He's going to have to be long distance mining for quite some time. Look at this, Hydralisks in a nice little situation, able to get on top of one of those high templars and pick it off there, reducing the Sonic Storm output for Bisu is going to be huge here. Not only baiting storms, but also sniping these high templars is critical for reducing the potency. That is basically the one thing that makes this matchup balanced is these big Psionic Storms kind of leveling the playing field. It does seem OP from the Zerg's perspective when the Psionic Storm rips your army apart, but to be fair, it's the only thing that keeps this matchup balanced, so it's a necessary evil for the Protoss, for the Zerg players have to deal with here. Look at this DT sneaking its way around the map, trying to target fire this hatchery down in the top right. He's got to react quickly to that to make sure he doesn't lose that.
Yeah, gets another DT over here at the third. High Templar? High Templar? Oh, no! Loses that shuttle. I hope there wasn't any High Templar in there. He really could have gotten a lot of damage with that had he dropped. But we're going to take a fourth base now for Bisu. Bisu going to try to extend himself out a little bit farther, but will it be too far here on the map? We've got lurkers mixed in now. We should have Hive coming up here soon with some defilers hitting the field. Things are going to get really spicy here for Soma. Soma actually holding the middle of the map is extremely critical on this map, Dark Origin. Middle of this map it's just crazy important that you're able to hold this position here.
Absolutely, saying he gets some total control, and it allows him to lay siege to this fourth base location. Bisu knows that he now needs to kind of push back and get out onto the map a little bit, take out some of these lurkers, but there's just so many Hydras and units out for so many. 170 supply to 166 for Bisu, actually slightly ahead in supply for a few moments there was Soma. Really scary position to have to be in as a Protoss player, and yeah, it's really tough for him to have to defend this fourth base location while the Zerg has control, because eventually he can just borrow lurkers there, kill the pros, and now look at this. If he wants to, he can just come across these bridges in a moment's notice. Bisu can have to keep his forces split up there, one side keeping the bridges safe, and the other side trying to also defend this fourth base location. Soma's coming down with most of his forces now to try and pincer maneuver this whole army, now ready for another blue goose sandwich. But beautiful Psionic Storms just laying down on top of those Hydras and completely decimating that position. He is evening up the trade here. Soma ahead in supplies somehow still, but Bisu doing a nice job of bullying those back. Probes coming down to mine out this mineral field in the back to open up the main base of Soma. Bisu wants to go for a bit of a tactical play here. He wants to snipe this base in the bottom left and rotate round into the main base and try and take out the tech of Soma and try and go for a kill move, since he knows that defending this fourth base is going to be an untenable position for him in the long run.
Oh man, he's going to lose a ton of probes that are falling back. He's going to get some zealots here into the main base, which is something, but Soma's overwhelming this position, taking Bisu to task here, forcing him back up onto the high ground. Oh, a lurker egg on the ramp. Oh, it's so painful. Oh man, you almost feel like the cringe here from Bisu as he spent so many probes to try and get this play going, and he gets the zealots back there only to find the lurker on the ramp to defend that. Soma just clearing out every possibility here, shutting down Bisu at every turn, not allowing him to take any ground. Bisu gonna try to shove forward here, but this may be his last move. Even though he's on two bases, he's got this high ground. He is just in such a horrible position with the middle of the map being completely controlled by Soma, and this army down here just in a perfect flanking position to deal with anything coming down here. The Hydras are going to come up from the bottom, and these lurkers are going to push down from the top, and he should be able to just control this army and crush it. Lurkers being built here on the top just to buy a little bit of time. I'm surprised we don't see Soma's army, his full army, moving down here to crush this, but pretty soon he is going to bring that down and sort of just sandwich this. Here we go. Sandwich is complete. Army moving down from the top, army moving up from the bottom. Bisu just barely managing to slip away onto that high ground. Some DTs up here in the top right doing a lot of damage, killing off a ton of drones during all this. But is that going to be enough to keep Bisu in this? I'm not so sure.
He will snipe this hatchery, Saiyan, but I don't think that is going to be enough. I mean, Soma only has to maintain the game state and he can still win, right? Even losing that base, he's still in a great position. Eventually, Bisu's going to be the one. Beautiful storms are going to be helping him claw his way back into maybe somehow turning this way into a victory. And eventually, Soma will start to be mined out on these three bases and will be reduced to 2 base worth of production after he retakes that top right. So it is technically possible impossible for Bisu to win this game, Say. It's going to be very difficult, but he can actually navigate his way to do so. It's just a very, very arduous task for him, but he can make it work.
Skirmishing down on the low ground like this with such a concave of lurkers is very, very inefficient. Bisu still trying to make it work though. Making more Archons up here, adding on more Templar. At least we've seen someone not be able to break across the bridges and kind of contain Bisu on the other side, but I'd like to see him do that soon. Move across the bridge and get something in between the rallies here for Bisu. Running forward here, he's gonna pick off some Templar. 2 Templar go down. There's only 1 left without a storm. This could be the breaking point for Bisu.
Yeah, I really don't see how he can hold on for much longer. Just because he can technically win this game, it's almost going to be impossible for him to execute it just with how many forces he's losing right now. It's really impossible to keep your cool and navigate and maintain your composure throughout the amount of trading he would have to do to win this game. I don't think it's going to be in sight. His winning percentage is like dropping by the second right now. Double defile amount for both Consume and Plague simultaneously. Soma not messing around right now, really wants to go for gold, punishing Bisu in any way imaginable, and wants to even get these tech units out right now, get this Consume going, and start just levying down a huge assault and siege onto Bisu, not giving him any chance of coming back in this game. He's now able to mine from this expansion because of these lurkers, so he's basically on 1 base worth of production, and Soma has lost all the mining of these 3 bases all at the same time while not having this 5th base ready. So Soma knows he's only on 1 base production for all the time being, so wants to be as cost efficient as possible, coming in with some Zerglings now, forcing out some beautiful Psionic Storms, but it's not going to be quite an efficient trade enough for Soma here, for Bisu here, as he is still remaining ahead on supply, is Soma. So really difficult for Bisu to navigate his way out of this position, and Soma can more or less maintain the game state if he just takes this base in the bottom left like he is now, while also getting some Defiler support coming into position, starting to consume, set up some Dark Swarms, get Plague, and it's going to be really tough for Bisu here. And he's got double Defiler mounts, so he'll be able to start plaguing more or less instantly.
Well, there's a lot of storms coming out here for Bisu, shoving back quite a few of these lurkers and hydras, but as that base in the top right comes up and it's not harassed, we're gonna see some really pull ahead here soon. Bisu actually with the supply advantage now, still shoving forward. We've got Defilers on the map. Consume will be done here shortly, so these Dragoons are not gonna be able to make much headway after that's done, but he gets on top of these eggs and actually gets a bunch of them killed off. Here comes the Defiler. Hydra's coming in from multiple angles. We've got a lot of Archons here, so he can actually fight even with the Dark Swarm. He can fight through that, and I don't know, man. Has Soma kind of overextended here, because Bisu's gonna head down to the bottom left and maybe take out this base.
This is what we needed to happen. This is what needed to happen for Bisu to finally get some momentum now. Soma has definitely overstepped his mark, saying, and for the time being, he lost a lot of wind out of his sails. I'm losing those 3 bases worth of economy, and now Bisu's survived long enough to have that little chink in the armor that he can now just completely exploit. And he's going for it, and he's getting on top of all these units all at once. He's swallowing up most of these positions. Soma desperately trying to hang on in the northern threshold, but unable to do so. And Bisu's just coming out like a monster right now. He's done it, I think. He's coming onto the map. He's coming, swinging around. Also, the north-hand side, the northeast is completely exposed as well. Beautiful Psionic Storms as he comes into the hundreds. And GG called from Soma. Bisu showing you how it's done.
What? He brought that one back. Oh my god. Incredible play from Bisu there. Holding on for so long, and you can really feel it. The wind pulling out of the sails there from Soma. Right as those 3 bases ran out of minerals, he was suddenly stuck on 1 base, and he just didn't have the production to keep up that pressure. And eventually Bisu managed to break out just as that next base was coming online for Soma. He gets out on the map, he breaks through before the Dark Swarms and Plagues come into effect and wins that game. An incredible performance from Bisu. He's going to maintain this series for us. We're going to go on to even some more PvZ action, guys. I am just over the moon excited about this player right now, Bisu. Can he make the comeback and take down all these Zerg players? I'm starting to become a believer. Okay, Queen gonna come out against Bisu. I'm still just so happy for Bisu right now. The fact that he managed to take that game away is just incredible.
He's the Rocky Balboa of the Starcraft world, just wearing out his opponent and waiting for him to gas himself out, and then right at the last second, just being like, now's my time to swing on you, buddy. Absolutely exceptional stuff from Bisu, waiting to the last possible moment when that 3-base economy had just barely disappeared, and he dried up the reserves that he had in his bank, and just as the wind had started to dissipate from the sails of Soma, Bisu then just came crushing out of the gates and just overwhelmed him and swallowed him up all at once. Beautiful play from him. But ooh, nice little block here from Bisu, going to be delaying this hatchery going down for Queen, and Queen's going to be forced to just throw down the pool, and he's not going to be happy about that. It's very suboptimal to go for a 12 ball against Protoss.
Yeah, this definitely does suck. You do not want to be throwing down this pool right now. Queen, I mean, it's still navigatable. It's still okay, but you know, we're gonna have solid pressure here. We're gonna have Bisu with an optimized build, and Queen is just gonna get blocked here at his third as well.
Yeah, this is honestly this couldn't have gone better for Bisu. The stars are aligning for him to start making quite an exceptional comeback right now. We do have Queen really on top of his drone controller, putting down a lot of damage onto that probe, so Bisu's gonna have to wisely retreat with that. We'll buy him enough time though to get this hatchery online. Just forcing the probe away a little bit of distance is enough to then retreat back to place that down for free. So really good judgment there from Queen, making sure he can get this third base online as soon as possible, because he did not want to have to navigate this way in the early game. It is a very suboptimal way of having to play against Protoss. It's by no means a game over for him. It's just a very difficult for him to min-max his build to be aligned well for dealing with what Protoss will be wanting to do himself. So will be like, say for example, not quite early enough tech to take advantage of the early pull, and not quite enough economy because we went for a later hatchery than we would like to. So a little bit soft on both avenues than he would like to be. So unfortunately for him, we'll be having to navigate his way out of that. But against someone of Bisu's caliber, sometimes when you give these great players a little advantage, say, and they can take it all the way and just absolutely crush you.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel like Queen should attempt to bring this one back? Do you think we're going to see a Hydra bust after this kind of suboptimal opener, or are we going to see him, you know, cut corners and try to get back into this economically?
He, on paper, he should go for the 973, I think. But the problem with that is there will be a sizable amount of Zealots to do it, so he'd have to go for this sort of style we saw before with the mass speedlings first into the slow Hydras. He has to go for the 973 though, one because he's behind, and two because he has to exploit this horizontal expansion opening of Bisu here. He's got close position and it's a horizontal, which means that the buildings are wider, so it's harder for the cannons to cover the wall at the front, so it's easier to bust these positions. So as you see, Bisu's encouraged to put his cannons up right up against the wall because of how wide his buildings are to cover the wall. So that means it's much easier to Hydra bust, because you do not need Hydra range to come in close and bust these cannons down without killing the wall, which then you can use the wall against the Protoss player because the Zealots can't come out.
Alright, it's looking like that build may be coming to fruition here. Link speed is done, and we have about 973 ready here. So a few Hydras are going to be produced. Queen is getting his first upgrade here. He does have some more drones coming out and a hatchery going down, so maybe he's not completely committed here to a bus, but seeing this number of zealots coming forward, he's got to be a little bit nervous right now. You need to get more units out here. The transition is going to get caught by Bisu. However, if all these zealots die, then the bus will be that much stronger. It's all going to come down to what's popping out of these eggs and whether he's able to keep all these Hydralisks alive. Here we go, zealots coming forward here. They're going to try and go up this ramp, but Ling's on the ramp already. This is a great catch by Queen. He's going to block all this from getting up this ramp. He's going to kill all of these zealots, and the counterattack is going to be deadly, I think. It's going to be very hard for Bisu to hold on. He'll have to build a ton of cannons.
Oh, he will need a lot of cannons, and he knows that there's no way he can identify exactly how many Hydras there will be, so he'll probably just blindly make cannons now. He kind of has to. He'll make at least 3 initially, and then he'll start adding a 4th and then a 5th, and then he may cancel the 4th or the 5th depending on how many Hydras he confirms in the upcoming phase. But one thing to be said for is this Hydra did follow the Zealot all the way to the top right, which gives a little bit of breathing room for Bisu to maybe think, he can't be that committed to busting me, so maybe 3 cannons is enough for now. He is going to throw down the 4th as a safety anyway. We'll see if he cancels that or not. I think he may still keep that as a safety cannon regardless of the fact, but usually sometimes you'll see these players, they'll start a cannon and they'll cancel it if there's nothing coming, just as like a precaution.
Well, it feels like Bisu's not going to just die here, but still losing that number of zealots in the early game is really, really painful. The bus is not going to do anything here. He might maybe be able to kill the gateway. I don't think the forge is going to go down in time to deny this upgrade, but oh, bit of a mistake there. Might lose a Hydra, just barely, not with 2 HP, keeping that alive. It looks like Corsair goes down. Rare mistake with the Corsair there from Bisu. Gonna try and get in range here. Looks like Hydra range has finished up and Hydra speed is done as well. So Queen gonna get these 2 buildings here. That upgrade is really, really close, I think. We may see Bisu come out with the Zealots to just try to buy a couple of brief seconds of time to get this forge to finish its upgrade. Ooh, it's getting pretty low here. Only 300 HP. Is it gonna finish or not? He's coming out with the zealots. He's gonna try and fight this. I would love to see him target. He does just target down the forge, making sure that he finishes that off, and he stops the upgrade. A huge win here for Queen.
It's a really big win for Queen. I'm actually surprised that Bisu didn't pull the trigger on that at least like 4 or 5 seconds quicker, just to kind of guarantee being able to bully away the Hydras. What he wanted to happen there was to do a follow-up play of the Zealot legs finishing, and then him getting a wrap around on those Hydras as well, potentially later on, which he is now attempting to do now, getting into 12 o'clock position before the Hydras can get up onto the ramp. So it's still going to work out nicely for Bisu. Good surround on those Hydras before they can get into the mineral line. Going to be taking out a lot of their hit points. Unfortunately, going to lose that Corsair to those Hydras before losing the Overlord, so not going to be able to supply block Queen further, but is getting on top of that Sun Colony, and is going to be able to take that down. The drones can't drill the Sun Colony, and now it's a little bit bad news bears for Queen as Bisu's opened up this position. Beautiful drill there from Queen, going to be trying to help these Zerglings out on that ramp, but it's a little bit not too little though, unfortunately for him, and those Zealots now going to get on top of all of these drones, and Queen in a world of hurt now as Bisu not only denying the mining here at this 12 o'clock base, but has already killed so many drones. There's more Zealots also poking at the natural expansion, threatening run by there as well, and getting on top of all of these Hydras as they come out of these hatcheries, but now forcing some Lurker eggs to be morphed as well. So eventually Queen might be able to stabilize this 12 o'clock, but he will at the very least lose some of these hatcheries. So really unfortunate for Queen here.
Queen is in a dire situation. A few more units are going to pop out. The Lurkers will morph, but the Zealots are being targeted on this hatchery. If he kills this hatchery on the left-hand side, it's just lights out. Yeah, that goes down. GG has got to be called here. He's walking in with the Lurker. Look at that. Lurker egg on the ramp. He's going to try and block these Zealots in and finish them off. He says, you're not going to get these Zealots home. You know, you can't eat your cake too. You've got to lose all these Zealots here to these Lurkers to give me any sort of chance to actually win this game. And he will kill all these Zealots, it looks like, but I mean, the delay on mining here has been so insane. A DT's gonna slip in now. He's gonna kill this one lurker. He tries to block the ramp one final time with an egg, but not able to get it done. And a lot of those zealots will escape. Bisu in such a good position now. Hard to even imagine Queen being able to win from here. He's got a Queen's Nest coming down, so he's gonna like Hail Mary punt the ball across the field right now with a Defiler transition and see if he can hold on to 3 base. Maybe eventually get into a 4th with that. Maybe even, you know, try to make a bust at this 3rd. That's a very close position for that 3rd base. It's like just outside the natural here of Queen, so maybe he can get over there with a Dark Swarm, get up on high ground and try to win that way. But we've got some Templars in a shuttle here. They're going to be sent over towards the main. That's going to deal even more damage. This is going to get really, really dirty here for Queen.
Yeah, Shuttle now making its way into the main base. There's also an Overlord being taken out by a Corsair, which is going to be supply blocking Queen during this. DT's now sliding out of that shuttle, starting to pull all these drones off the line while the shuttle makes its way into the natural. Dropping another DT there to challenge, waiting for the storm drop. Beautiful Psionic Storm taking out at least 4 of those drones. Potentially a lot more could have gone down, but it doesn't matter. That's still big damage for Bisu here, forcing off that much mining time and also catching a few drones. There's a nice little play from him, and now here comes the follow-up attack. Storm at the 12 o'clock, taking out 2 drones, not quite getting the connections that he wanted to, but it's still enough damage to write home about and be happy about. Unfortunately, not quite the critical damage he would like, but now swinging back down to the natural. He's still got 1 storm available to him, I believe. Here it comes. Beautiful effort from Bisu. Now that's the one he wanted. That's the money shot right there. Only a couple of drones remaining in that mining field. A lot of drones have gone down. It's going to come round to the 12 o'clock and go on the other hand side of it as well. He doesn't want to keep the shuttle pinned down in that 12 o'clock location, so wants to come on the right hand side instead.
Yeah, that was some dirty, dirty damage. That's exactly what Bisu was looking for. Now with this 3rd base up and running and the probe saturation he's got, I just don't see any way for Queen to get back. In the Hail Mary play, I was imagining with the very quick hive is seeming even less powerful here now. It's even a smaller chance of winning than before. It looks like a Spire coming down, no Defiler Mound, so maybe he's gonna go, what, Guardian here? What are we doing?
I don't know, but I know Sulky's doing push-ups right now, preparing for his game.
Yeah, man, he's got to be getting a little nervous. Bisu seems so strong right now. Sulky gonna have his work cut out for him, because Queen, I think, is definitely gonna go down here, coming in for a skirmish. Bisu gonna take a little fight here against these Lings. Nice storm there to get rid of all the Lings, and the Dragoon should be able to push through this lurker field. A little bit too stacked up on these lurkers at the top there. Oh, storming his own observers, though. That's a little bit unfortunate. Dragoons are going to be able to push forward. More storms are coming out. Zealots are going to run forward now. Most of these lurkers are very, very low, so the Zealots are going to be able to break this position. Reinforcements coming up here as well for Bisu. He's just going to overwhelm this position. A few more Hydras do pop out. Lings try to jump on top of that Archon as it's morphing, but it morphs out in time, and Bisu just going to push through here. Queen, whatever his plan was with that hive, well, it looks like it was a Defiler Mound. Defiler Mound in the back there, just not going to be in time. Queen is going to get taken out, and Bisu is going to go on to the final Zerg player here in just a couple of moments, assuming Queen taps out. Bit of a fantasy timing here.
Wow, Bisu, the patriarchy, Protoss taking out Queen right now. Unfortunately for the Zerg, going to be reduced down to just 1 single player. GG is called. Sulky waiting in the wings, going to be quaking in his boots right now, saying.
Bisu, the X factor for this Protoss lineup. Able to take out so many great Zerg players here tonight. Absolutely incredible. Effortless play from him. Actually, I'll take that back. Not exactly effortless, man. Some of these games have been some serious heavy lifting even against Queen there, it seemed like he was at a disadvantageous position. But then managing to get in on that third base right before the Hydralisks were in that Sim City, breaking through there and giving himself a quality spot to win that game. Very, very well played by Bisu so far. Now he's against Solki here on Tempest. Let's see what kind of build he brings out to take down Solki here.
Looks like we're going to be seeing a little gas trick after early pull from him. Yeah, I'm not sure if Bisu looks like he wants to go for just like a Forge Fast expand, nothing crazy here, I don't think. It makes sense as well on this map when you've got these really easy to defend natural expansions. It wouldn't even been too strange for him to take the Nexus first, but he's so aware that because of that, it's possible that we'll see a 9 pool or something to punish the Nexus first. So instead, he's going to be going for this sort of like, you know, very like standard like Forge at 13 kind of way of playing, just in case there was some kind of crazy pool timing that could have just won the game for free here.
Cross map positions, he's probably going to be fine. We've got a bunch of eggs here being produced right now for Solki. I'm sure that some of these are probably just going to be drones. Oh, actually 6 lings, no way. So 6 lings being produced, and we've already got a cannon here on high ground. He's going to drop a second one, I think, as well, just to be safe. Or maybe he just goes for a gateway? No, second cannon here. And Solki still doesn't even know where Bisu is, so this is an amazing position right now for Bisu.
Oh, absolutely. It's probably one of the best case scenarios, but he does need the second cannon because 6 lings do really easily beat 1 cannon. So unless he had some extra probes to block here, it'd be a very dicey situation for him. So he's going to be rushing into... Oh, he gets the hatchery block of the probe, actually. That's really annoying for Solki. He has to come back with the lings as well. Doesn't like to do that. And yeah, even losing just any kind of timing here for Solki is exceptionally annoying for him because he's already going to be in a little bit of a disastrous position having to commit to these early Zerglings. So having anything delayed is a really soul-crushing feeling as a Zerg player right now when you're already behind in economy and you're making these small sacrifices that you shouldn't have to be making.
Yeah, that's it's just so frustrating as a Zerg player. Can relate. Absolutely relatable here. Solki just in a heinous position here. He is gonna have a hatchery at a very difficult to defend base as well. That base out there at the third, there's really no good way of defending that unless you're actually being aggressive. So maybe we're gonna see a Hydralisk Den thrown down here and just an attempted bust. Despite this being on high ground, I don't know if Solki has a better option here. He's gonna start the layer in the natural, and yeah, maybe he's gonna go into a macro game from here. I'm not sure.
Well, he definitely will go for a macro game, saying, but he's definitely going to be a little bit frustrated with just having a little bit of mineral optimization issues from having like these awkwardly timed bases and stuff, and having to already sacrifice this early economy is going to be a little bit frustrating for him. He is going to be a very calm and composed despite this, though. He's not like you or me who that kind of like, you know, kind of play worse when these small mistakes happen. You know, he's been around the block enough times that he's going to be still playing his A game despite that small hiccup, but it is going to be a little bit of a tough nut to swallow for him just because of that fact that he will be losing out on some small optimizations going forward. It just makes it a little bit harder to squeeze out advantages against players of the caliber of Bisu. It's such a small fractional percentage thing at the highest levels where both players can execute almost perfectly if you play the same sort of style that you're all used to playing. So you have to make small adjustments to your play to try and like find small ways of getting ahead, and you can't really do that when you are behind in the curve in terms of mineral optimization or lava optimization or what have you.
Oh, I can't let that go. I'm sorry. A tough nut to swallow. What are you saying? Oh, I love your sayings, man. It's so funny. So funny. Definitely.
People nuts, man.
Swallow. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, I really feel like Sulky on this map would have been beneficial for him to throw a hatch down at the bottom right, especially when you have these poor situations. Sometimes it can be better to go for a more like out of the box strategy. He's just gone for a completely normal opener here. He's gonna have a zealot in his main as well. This is even more annoyance for him. He's gone for the spire. He's gonna lose a drone. Oh my goodness, maybe a second. No, not quite the second. Looks like he's gonna force that back. Some good micro there by Sulky, but 3 more zealots making their way over here to the third base as well. Sunken is gonna be morphed, but the drones are forced away. That's another bit of lost mining time here for Sulky, and things are just getting worse and worse as time goes on. I wanted to say, like, going for an unorthodox strategy, like taking a natural at one of these other bases, one of these other quadrants of the map, and then sunkening that up on high ground. You can win games even from behind in a situation like that if your opponent kind of throws his army into you, or you just manage to get the 4th base up really nice and quick, go into hive. Those early game losses are going to mean less and less as the game goes on, but in this spot, I just feel like Bisu is going to get a really big army together. And he's just going to crush this location because it's just so vulnerable here out in the front.
It's very vulnerable, Saiyan, and there's also multiple avenues of attack that you can launch at this location as well. So really rough in that sense. Ooh, does get one connection with the Scourge, but not the other one. So not able to take out one of those Corsairs. And he does want to be able to reduce the potency of that anti-air fleet of Bisu, because one, Bisu's so good with it, but also just because he needs some kind of air superiority, or he's just going to lose all of his overlords. So a little bit of a tough situation for Sulky. He knows he's up against a player that's as potent as Bisu. He needs to be very cautious going forward here. Here comes the Zealots to ravage the drone line here. There are some Mutualists to bully back these Zealots, but there are also going to be 6 Corsairs with +1 out on the field soon, which will be able to start one-shotting all of these Scourge. And nice little pickup from Sulky, getting a few of these Zealots for free, actually. And he has got enough Scourge to zone out the Corsairs for the time being until they get these count of 6. So it's going to be reigning supreme momentarily. But here come the 6 Corsairs now. Now Bisu's ready to mean business and to basically ward away Sulky at a moment's notice and start gunning down these fleets of Scourge.
You know, I guess he is giving himself a little bit of an opportunity here, Sulky is, with the Mass Scourge. It's not a great opportunity, but it is a possibility here that he hits like every Scourge and kills every Corsair. Then he can just, really dominate the sky. And if he does that, then there's not going to be anything that Bisu can do to attack for a long time. And that way, Sulky could potentially get a 4th out. He could really drone up hard and get himself into some lurkers and into a large number of Hydras. So there is that possibility, but the moment that all of the Scourge die and none of the Corsairs die, it's just game over. There's nothing you can do. So a real momentum play, or kind of a coin flip-ish play here, especially with the way that AI works for the Scourge. You never really know if these are going to connect, or are they going to just spin around. Here we go, connecting quite a bit of these Scourge. Wow, this is actually a lot better than I expected, getting quite a few of these Corsairs, but there's still 5 here left on the field.
Yeah, Bisu's been like pumping these out non-stop, saying, so he's not messing around. And I feel like he's anticipated like losing some, and he wanted to have a sizable amount left over so he could keep sharking around the map, threatening the overlords, and able to still one-shot Scourge. Needs to be careful, there's some Scourge connections, taking out one of those Corsairs and having to get away from the remaining 2. There are some Hydras also moving in a position to try and intercept those. Bisu on a pretty tight south trajectory, which will mean it won't be able to get back to his base in time before maybe the Hydras could have gotten into position to get them, but unable to do so. Instead, the 3 Mutas coming down here to be as annoying as possible. Sulky trying to get a lot done with a little right now and do any damage that he can with these 3 Mutalisks, while his Hydras are sharking around the middle of the map for map control, seeing if they can pick off something. But beautiful snipe from this DT on this drone, trying to expand expand, delaying this 4th base for Soki is a little bit annoying here. Overlord is going to identify that and chase that down, but it is very frustrating for Soki to keep getting delayed in these small ways by Bisu.
Bisu delaying that base there just for a little bit. There's the 4th now coming down. We've got no Hive or anything. Hive tech set up here for Solki. He's getting his upgrades going, but he doesn't have, you know, 3 Evo chambers or anything running right now. He's just kind of relying on mass Hydra right now to try and overwhelm this force, and he doesn't even have Hydras, or he doesn't even have Lurkers right now to try and snipe, or excuse me, Mutants to try and snipe these Templar, and he doesn't have Lurkers, so now he's going to try and maybe morph some Lurkers here, but he needs something more than just mass Hydra to be able to take on this force now, which has a lot of complexity from Bisu.
Right. One thing that we can say is that Soki will be coming from the high ground with the control of the center. Bisu doesn't take that control of the center right now, which he hasn't elected to do so. We see this big rotation of Hydras to the south side as well, but right now there's a little skirmish going on at the front, and some storms are being initiated by Bisu. Only one thus far, and he will want to hold on to this 3rd location at all costs. So Soki, I think, will be content if he can just secure the high ground peninsula in the center, while also threatening from the east with these Hydras here, and maybe coming in. I think Bisu's well aware of that, though. He's got this big clump of Zealots just waiting, and meanwhile the Dragoons are going to work on this like ramp to this middle high ground, and I think that Bisu's doing everything he needs to survive for the time being. I think he's got a very good cognition of exactly where he is in the game state and what he has to do in the moment to make sure that he doesn't kind of get outmaneuvered by the Zerg. And Soki's the kind of player that if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile, especially in like this sort of mid to late game phase. He's a bit of a macro beast. He's not so strong on the early game phases, but once he gets going, he can be a bit of a monster. So Bisu's well aware of that, and he's doing everything he needs to now, sending out a small auxiliary force to the north as well. These Zealots kind of pressure this 4th base right when the drones are starting to transfer to it. Bisu very aware of the timings here.
Yeah, Bisu, great job sending those Zealots around, but equally good here. Solki going to negate that. He's got some Lurkers on high ground, but maybe Bisu sees a moment of opportunity here to try and break forward. He is going to try and come up this ramp, bringing up these Templar here. Going to get some good storms, but we've got plenty of Lurkers in a decently spread position. Bisu not going to be able to break through that for now. Maybe he's going to go ahead and move around the left-hand side. But if he tries to move in a way that leaves an opening here for Solki to come forward and pick off this 3rd base, he absolutely will. And he's just threatening that counterattack right now, so forcing Bisu back once again. I think Solki has done a really great job of navigating this. It felt like, you know, he was just producing a ton of Hydras and Lurkers and kind of neglecting, really droning up into that 4th base. But now he's got a great saturation here. He doesn't have Hive just yet, but there's the Queen's Nest on the way, so he has future plans for this base. He's going to have that 4-base economy with the Hive tech going pretty soon here, and you know, Bisu, he's going to rotate around the right-hand side. There's not too many Lurkers over here. Maybe he's found a spot whereas Solki is a little bit vulnerable, a little bit of the weak underside here from Solki now being exposed.
Yeah, there's definitely a weak underside of the belly here that he's kind of found, and he's starting to rub up against it and realize it's very soft indeed. He's going to come all the way up to this northern threshold and can storm over this ridge line potentially onto this mineral line. Solki knows it. He's going to quickly try and get onto this high ground area and deny any possibility of him coming up here and deny him mining at this base, but instead Solki's losing so many units to these psionic storms. There's a few mutants coming in to help desperately, but Solki's in a little bit of a hurt here. He has got some Hydras wrapping around from the south. He wants to try and box in this army and try and gobble it up all in one go if he can, but it's not quite enough critical mass of units for him to do that from a southern threshold. He's going to try anyway, but Beast is already ready to take that high ground position away from him and get out before he gets crushed. So Bisu's well aware of the position himself and kind of navigating this flawlessly as he rotates around and avoids loads of critical damage, but luckily for Sulky, he didn't take too much damage at this expansion, so was able to push him out. Here comes a big counter-attack at the third base of Bisu, crushing some of these cannons and rushing in to try and snipe some of these High Templars as well. Sulky looking in a good position here as he snipes almost all of those High Templars, one remaining of 8 HP, but no Psionic Storm remaining. Now going to rotate out with those Hydras and retreat. Some skirmishing storms in the center of the map as well, as Sulky wants to take this high ground position away from Bisu once more. There's a big clump of Dragoons ready to fight this Battle Zerg army while he's teching into Hive. There's a big clump of Lurkers and Hydras all on top of each other. If only the High Templar could just get in range to Psionic Storm. Here it comes, big Psionic Storm finally blanking onto those forces and get cleaned up here soon.
Oh, just pure Dragoon is left over. I think we're going to see an unburrow and run forward here from Sulky. Actually, maybe not quite enough to win this fight decisively. He's going to fall back here and hold this high ground. Quite the back and forth. Oh, where are all the drones up here at the top center? They must have been pulled away from these two zealots, I guess. Going to be sent back to mining now. Doesn't look like there was any sort of Templar drop or anything in that location. Just a little run by, but it is delaying the mining here from Sulky, and he's actually given up his high ground over the third base of Bisu, and that's going to be really painful. He stops a bunch of lurkers from morphing, and I can tell you from experience, this is one of the moments where Zerg players will often die, is when the lurker field, or when the lurkers get prevented from morphing. Then you have to fall back and try to morph again at a retreated position. That's when things really start to fall apart, because the Protoss player is going to keep coming forward and throwing down storms on your morphing lurkers, and he's going to actually get in here on this third base now. I think it's time to run with these drones, because these big storms are going to come through, and Sulky's going to lose so much here if he doesn't try to get out of this spot. He's coming around the backside as well, but he really doesn't have any lurkers with this. He's sandwiching this army, and there's not that many storms left over. Looks like there's just one storm. He's gonna be soon to have 2 storms, but he's not quite there yet. A lot of drones going down here right now. A lot of patience being shown by Sulky too, and here comes the lurkers finally gonna come forward with those, getting on top of this army. It looks like he might just be able to crush this, and yes, Bisu's army is gonna be completely crushed here. All the Dragoons are going to die. Amazing display of patience there from Sulky. He waited for so long. Even one of those macro hatches went down at the third base, but he held his ground. He kept his cool, and he eventually brings together enough forces to overwhelm that attack.
Wow. Sulky just put him into an elaborate triangle hold and just choked him out in the end there with that final pincer maneuver. Great composure from Sulky, like you say, saying really impressed by him in this game, really showing his caliber against the likes of Bisu, kind of navigating around in the middle now. He's got some Hydras on the right-hand side, distracting Bisu's army, while the rest of the Hydras come on the left-hand side, coming into the coming into the third base natural to try and take out some of these cannons, opening up this position, maybe even sniping some of the probes and the Nexus 2, forcing Bisu to rush in here to defend, and these Hydras are going to try and get out now, but there is a Psionic Storm going to be blanketing their retreat. Does take a lot of their HP down to the sort of mid to low range, so need to be careful with those Hydras. They are very softened up right now, some of them, so need to kind of like stay away from this main battle force of the Protoss. There's a lot of infantry units here and a lot of Psionic Storm available to Bisu, coming forward out into the middle of the map now as he wants to start skirmishing with these lurker formations soon.
The lack of the fourth base here, that pick off, the counter attack is going to be repeated here by Sulky, who's going to get on top of this Nexus. Bisu doesn't have anything over here. He's going to have to just cancel. That is a huge win here for Sulky. He's going to be able to stay on this kind of battle Zerg with just now adding on a bunch of Lings and maybe getting Crackling upgrade going as well. Whereas Bisu, I mean, he hasn't managed to get into this late game. He's only on 1 base now. 1 base mining is not going to be enough to deal with late game Zerg player with 4 bases. It's just, he's going to eventually fizzle out here. I mean, I feel like we've said all of this before, though, in that game versus Soma. We'll see if Bisu can hang on here for long enough for Sulky to dry out. Right now, I just don't see it happening, though.
One thing I will say is that the way the macro hatcheries at the third base for Soki are laid out, it makes his army trickle through. So there might be a situation where Soki just starts rallying his units out and they will come in like a big long streamline, and maybe that makes it easy for Bisu to storm them in a big conga line or something like that could happen. But yeah, it is hard to foresee that to come into fruition. But we do see Bisu making a good play of it. He's trying to get his army set up in the right hand side of the map. He needs to get this fourth base finally up online, but unfortunately for him, there is 4 bases he has to contend with for the Zerg player already. So yeah, I'm not too sure how he's going to navigate this.
I really do love these PVZs where, you know, 3-4 base Zerg and Protoss battling it out over and over again with Storms, Hydras, Lurkers, and Zealots. It's so much fun to watch, and this has been one of the closest games of this series. We've got a bunch of Templar moving forward here, and another base gonna go down now for Sulky in the top left. So we're actually gonna get beyond even that kind of mid-game craziness now into sort of a deeper late game here with +2/+2 done for Sulky, +2/+2 done for Bisu as well. A third upgrade should be on the way for both players as they have access to those. Bisu now on 4 bases here. I mean, he's roaming around the map, but I don't see anywhere he can break anymore with these defilers coming out. I think we're going to really go into late game.
I think so, Sen. And it's going to be a split map situation where Sulky just takes the entire like north of the map here. But this is going to be really tough for Bisu. There's going to be so many cracklings for him to have to deal with. And with plagues after plagues being coming out from Sulky, I don't know how Bisu's going to be able to trade efficiently here. Like the other game, I could kind of see a window of him coming through and surviving and taking out the Zerg. Right now, I'm not seeing it as clearly as before. There is a path to victory here for Bisu. It's even harder than before, but he is Bisu. Maybe he can manage it. But right now, Darkstorm being thrown down. A few Zerglings trying to be as annoying as possible and buying some time here and just halting the advance of Bisu slowly but surely as he tries to like make as many units as possible. Right now, 180 supply to 155 of Bisu. Bisu now shuffling over to this left-hand side. There's a lot of orange swarm here, like big orange swarms of death. No player really likes to see that unless you're Zerg. So unfortunately for him, he's going to be in a little bit of a precarious situation. Some chili sauce being laid down on his infantry as well. So the plagues are going to be so difficult for him to be able to trade with, as all of his units are going to be so softened up and just completely melted when they finally do run into the big line of lurkers and sunk. It's going to be very difficult for Bisu to break into these expansions. So Sulky's going to be able to get all these bases up for free essentially, while Bisu tries to macro up his way to 200. But by then, I think there's going to be a Sauron Zerg waiting for him, Sam.
We need to see Bisu take this center left, and you know what? I feel like Bisu's taking, he's doing the thing that he does best right now, which is just throw down storms, step back, throw down more storms, step back, keep on throwing down those storms and getting the value out of those Templars until they're all out of energy, making them into Archons and just growing this Giga army that's so powerful for the Protoss in the late game. He's not really losing too many Templar, but at the same time, he's not really expanding on the map. He's not really growing on the map, and Sulky is getting huge right now. He's at 190 supply, and he's got so many macro hatches around the map now with tons and tons of links popping out here. Bisu's going to have a real hard time fighting against this swarm army over here in the center left. I thought that was the base Bisu was going to take next, but now there's an army over there. There's some lings all spread around the map. Sulky's going to know when another base gets taken. He's got vision everywhere right now.
Yeah, I don't think that Bisu's going to be able to handle trying to expand, because he needs to be offensive with his army right now to skirmish with the Zerg, to keep the Zerg at bay. He can't really afford to defend and attack at the same time. So right now, beautiful Psionic Storms going down onto the Zerg army. Sulky, though, just rallying in floods of units, has so many in reserve, and these dark swarms are being so cost efficient for him right now. Just a few cracklings underneath, slowing the advances of beautiful Psionic Storms on this. This is what I was talking about earlier, this this sort of like conga line because of this Sim City here, saying it kind of does make it easy for you to storm the Zerg army because they kind of trickle in a big long line like that. So there was one thing that I thought that BC could win later on was by clumping up all these units on this base and just like storming them over and over again as they come out in a little trickle here.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. The trickle of units getting stormed brutally there as it comes forward to help Sulky to defend. Do you think you just take the middle of the map here as Bisu? It feels like he's roaming through this area the whole time and trying to take a base over on the, you know, the center bottom right. I don't know if that's going to be possible because he can't really defend and attack at the same time, as you were saying. Pretty good storms coming down here. Archons are getting picked off by some of these Hydras, but that Defiler goes down without dropping a Dark Storm here. Another storm can come down. We've got quite a few Archons still left over, really cleaning up these cracklings. Great storms on some of these Hydras, but the Hydras are still high in number behind this attack. We've still got plenty of units here in the waiting in the wings for Sulky. The moment that all the Templars and Storms are used up, then he can really start to rally everything forward. This Archon here at the front is going to get picked off. Army starts to move forward here. We can tell now that the Templar are all out of Storms. There's no Templar left in this army, so yeah, just everything coming forward here for Sulky. Now he's going to shove Bisu back up onto this high ground, and this is looking worse and worse now for Bisu.
Yeah, he's got one hero Archon here of 24 kills, but unfortunately that hero is going to be slain soon by Sulky, it seems. 131 supply, like we're saying. It's just going to be really tough for him to overcome these odds. He is going to be trying, though. This is Bisu after all. He's still going to have a puncher's chance here as he makes his way to the northern threshold in the northwest quadrant of the map with his remaining forces. Is the remaining defenders of Aya here, saying, just ready to fight off with the cost of their lives. They don't care, saying they want to just go down fighting right now. Death in combat is probably like the biggest glory that these Protoss forces could ever hope to achieve. So they're going to go down in a blaze of glory right now. Shuttle, though, being sniped by the Hydralists on the eastern side. Beautiful Sonic Storms blanketing the forces of the Swarm to the north, but it's going to be a little bit too little too late. Dwindling in supply, 90 to 140 now. Bisu getting dried up as he desperately tries to cling on to life, storming the Zerg forces, but unfortunately it looks like Aya is going to be overrun here again, as history seems to be slightly repeating itself, saying.
Such a frustrating loss here for Bisu. GG, he taps out. Sulky clinches the win here for the Zerg squad. Man, it was just one little part was missing there for Bisu. I feel like he didn't have the same presence with the shuttles on the map as he did in that game versus Soma, where he was actually able to deny those additional bases over and over again. That fifth base was stomped a couple of times there by Bisu. This game, though, Sulky able to get those up pretty much uncontested and gets into the ultra late game with Bisu not taking any additional bases. He's just not able to contend with that macro engine, and Bisu falls. Protoss has fallen. Zerg wins this week of KCM. They will be seeded into the finals now. It's going to be a Terran versus Zerg finals. Let's go ahead and take a look at the score screen. All right, wrapping up a fantastic week of Starcraft Broodwar. KCM has been on fire here this week. This 2023 Season 3 semifinals was basically all we could ask for. A ton of great games. Of course, you've got to mention that Soma versus Bisu game, but also Hero versus Snow was amazing as well on Invader. That was a great game.
We've had some amazing games today, and I really liked seeing the sort of new age 3-hatch Hydra busts that we saw today as well by the likes of Soma, and really showing us just like new ways of handling these early game phases, just pure speedlings into slow Hydras to make those Hydra busts work against the gateway first openings. And then Bisu, this sleeping dragon who's never quite sleeping. He's always got like one eye open on the StarCraft scene, kind of like Flash, but this is different kind of dragon. This is the patriarchy Protoss, the real king, you know, just scaring everyone and slaying queens. left, right, and center, revolutionizing this matchup and showing us why he is like one of the best in this matchup. Coming back the way he did, and he looked like he was like down and out. He managed to, against all odds, come back in that game against Soma and start stomping the rest of the lineup. Was very close to also stomping out Sulky, and wasn't quite able to go the distance, I would say, but certainly showing us his potency in this art form that is PvZ, and making me really excited to see the finals and what kind of quality games we're going to see there. And I do overall prefer TVZ to PvZ, so I'm extremely excited going forward to the finals here, Sam.
Yeah, the Terrans have been so dominant, but Zergs are looking fantastic as well. You know, they always bring a great lineup. Wondering what kind of Terrans we're going to see here for the finals. What do you think about that? Who are we going to see brought out here?
I think there's so many good choices. You have to bring light. There has to be considerations for Royal, JYJ, Rush, Sark. There's so many good names that the Terrans can definitely field a really scary squad for the Zergs to have to worry about here.
For specifically Terran versus Zerg play, yeah, you gotta throw in light there. Maybe an Ample could be thrown out as well. Ample's been doing really well lately. Sharp is amazing as well. There's just so many good Terran players. Besides the ones that you and I both mentioned. It's going to be a very tough finals. That's going to be coming up on the 6th of September. Guys, that's it for this week of KCM. I've actually got a lot going on right now. It's my birthday tomorrow, and I went to a funeral yesterday, so I have a lot of things on my mind right now. We probably won't be doing any daily dose of Broodwar content this week. No replays this week. I'll be keeping up with the KCM, though, so a little break for me here while the ASL is going on. And then we're going to come back strong when we're ready. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.
Ish, meses opspils att blir här man ser vlog just när kan jag nu så skrivs in men det då visst of not either we see up the bill is hiring reveal every year we're see the all going to hit in that I'm not you touch me just and the bill well of no and as a group is the embassy see the snaps gets it there and it marks the job serve the low in so near yeah when you the deal and our job the fly has the snaps وش أنا نفعل بتأخذ أجل بس نسيني أطيس أو رير أنا ما كيلو بس أصلي سيد القائل بس صوت تدويتان أي سيف ده سيد سنينو يلقيس يو يما صدق بس نيت أنا نيما يما أوزع سبز أنا بقول بقول بس يلبه هير من يطلع ده يلفظ ده أطلع لونج يسوي الصوت بعيد طبعا شيء ويكاد يسوي ويا وزي هو يو كنت نسنو يسنو وذر يهم رفيق أصل ده ليس لون نور بيس لون يرجع برسي
Det är ju rökna. Stå en del fram men han gjort något måste. Det var stronger boy in was så lyxigt fan det ska inget måste. Därför ingen det kan existera och nej men det så rökna se efter och fast. Larry said, you know, which new is the loves are old maps, do so sneaking. You're off by sale, and if there's a reason there's looking at almost all morning back, and we're all so feature and eat back such a dance stick the girl message than that. He swore we fit out this and now I'll stimulate sound. This is in the field with all people matter swore. Or when you circle. In the cross, which must so ye were so upskidable was the same name at the bell with our running in Buckingham House. What's the boss not out? See, look, there ain't no idea more. This is Carrie leading me in the sister, but I worse this or I'm still wishing you get out. Man, but it's not the sky at the bread, save Earth, the look is swore, but if it's been all we can tell, was so wow. Oh, sir, you know, I first to know. That's easy. Is the embassy?
Så det är ända det var nog först det gick så att i fjällen och så ända så det så då inte jag mig har ju mycket så faktiskt så också så då men det har lång är det också så ja vad då det det var så det sen om det så att sista också fast men nu att jag inte på vi det var nu då så för den får sen det är så worry det ser på så inne gå in det ska det för så faktiskt men nu måste jag det så är det så nu men jag har en ny så was suddenly we are getting a high so official was yet that's in the nacht is never see as yes na you get hope yet forget the nacht see
Crazy if don't forget the match game. Or I'm nervous how game but anything you get more years gaving it your ring is so. It is next fell on us there. No, just thinking out. Men ni nice much. Merch that the lower than this match the old match the not man sister he's in all man and our reef there goes. Gibber. Allows that off now it's sisters yeah he's but all long in his can. Circle so the boss now getting out what's merch scare feel feel but this we mean a circle of a surf. Say the boss now hung in our circle lab. Here feel little I guess the like the she said was him is me caps no search they was sitting hey Errol side no everyone Sirline Garricker listen here here for a lot finished of this technique not my don't find or he murph so for it at the second all lost her down the just to see it no
I know I believe in the among and I see your place so more shit city sell here but it your son but you cast of less in naps goes need to be the sharp must know but it's not it's not very help he looks out the see both here this in the fight you know sit and app skill but in the bit now just no whistle he sell well he looks like as the you've never seen it is and the ops off seen him looks less than in this club negotiation him yeah and that's how when we're using up thinking out fair he looks like the market but she might as well say he's the overstood but the long for very fun the kill with I go market so see they never seen it's opposite my plan well was this more too but my is in the wish of said yes as when I'm both just snake outfits in their feet he's dismissed bullets in these and these man I was looking at seeing these dismissed my so you're easy upstairs I'm just not he did always just him out but here it's not is that no more that's when there was this sort of line of here helps the but the shimmer small just must get in back in the sign there ropes off some out chums out now there's no worry his very fast here really and then there's job must see the most thoughts and as my job must say there's job for the sits out so then that's all over here worth I'm on a caught and this I see ja das so as sieht wan für was nicht il fait also so wir so ein das durch hier mich verließ hell ist mein stark so schön laut was ich mit so ich sie noch sommer sie nur auf ich glaube das so look here first the jury up I still would as you fast here we see this
Hurry, you're very human and we're on narrow. The linear instead of this is not a kill off. She might make you at all. You just my hurry, careful. Oh, when it's a we say out. There's nothing all losing to get a sky. Oh, snap, we on Nichols sitting like nervous in that. And so, yeah, not get long it see either from me, not Miller, sorry. Never see if there's a thing out to lose to sniff it is in the dark. There was a famine, not I knock her out because now we see here was it shook that knock her off the cap. Say, you're singing every theater. Hurry, you're sure. Now, no more fear, which you're beginning to see. Nah, she didn't have this is number fail for the blessing of worry. Let's see, say, I'm more free, cast in it, and yeah, and it's each night. Long you back received earth and you never see knock her out, and my friend, I'll shake it, the soul killer, ooh, get off, was more say so, so you call by.
Oh, was ist gemacht in der Lande bis ja in der Stück so am das mal gelegt mal auf nicht geben für so sehr so und der Chef muss noch kann das alles war ist nicht der Gruppe weil die man durch also wie selbst die werden sich sehr oder mehr ich ist ja so schön was nicht der with jokes so the flash in the so that's a crack no so a very headline iron caution as jokes that will help you to do it now just stay but also that dummes ist wenn ich sehr so gibt es auch ein die look at person and das der auf die was no fashion am sei so with him selber jetzt der Faktor very he was up there as you can not find see as the best sehen was eigentlich jetzt a little version of time of facility making your app ja das in a way gets and then the exit of that so see them as like yes oh I must it was still on the exit yes and the was is off and the best jury point your just not as he sell meal this is with ja just the loves out here say no with Starcraft and there is using it together you know this night nothing like that I was like jokes all focus aus das auch bei you say so jetzt das ist nicht neu so cool das ist
Hurry, so it's so good. I'll lose it up, stay, mate. healer and more wakker van de stressen as no weer dan de gedoe de stuur nice en niet alles en nacher aan al van je or ja nog de zie dealer de soort van ik heb en net zo dat naar voor de deels scheme nacher scannen still I see the very snores new facilities van het wel is gaat ik city but dan dus ja dan ik nacher en daar al was de was hier nu zien al niet nas de nacher dat de rost en je dit hebben nacher de over maar ik city we dat ze zijn daar en even dus al aan or your fear exiliar remix today
nu jullie pakken dat ik zo niet zeggen op een als je op zijn schema of zie er vier maar is nog Mr. dit was nu iets van dat niet zo al die neer maar dat is heel schön dat alles van aan op zeer dat kan dat is nog erg gestart als is of zie was net niet dat de slot ben nog alles is nog gauw is die dat ik dus gezegd zie dat al dat is nou uit zo als maar het hem gesteld stay here helm nog aan de is hem en dus ik ook heel weer aan de west is wel dat maar je niks niet veel op de naad soms dan niet natuurlijk te winnen. Dat is dan zijn hierbij suddenly helps our meter self because the let's large here was the way last lad now else was he open this way in the soxy and the fund else and therefore that's all we heat and you're a sheeter we sell more fortune here said the longers and I had not was never seen ever so you see at the old now the virus is you know the nervous respond everything is the option match I'm the extra minute and you'll mark sir he there was no matter what he is sell more help on the field wow.
Hello, dus je mij niet helps, and then I just know everything. Now you better snore. The line that there's a little. Now, the gloves that elves in the wheel shot. And I can it all. I get a certain iris. They're gonna give it a wheel. This doesn't your say, you be no more. She match no more. Let's see the master sees the full bush. Find it on it's negative for the singular such in the eye. Then you'll cross nor their own snow. But up to each name and the older vote no, so there's no match no more. He say on this nesting if on or he'll stand in this Norwich Reef. Get a grace is never done. See, it's yeah, we're getting Reef is it. Name, but there's nobody not really maybe he was called, but no stand and there he gets answered. See if that's what. Fället nog söker för eller vad det är så att det sker då ser du så när det då and airplane men on the VRC så att det blir in the concert. Ja, maar er is het joh, en ik is snel. Zie nou, zo ik in hem zeggen, ik zeg, ik zie niet nu surf het nu, ik zit al surfen dan naar zingen, ik boe.
Ja, dat is een zetje. Je voelt waarschijnlijk ieder read en dat is nog als iets die vaak is outside. En dat is zo misschien niet een maar eerst al wel zien, maar zal ik snel aan die op de soft zit. Ja, nou, er is nog just in de eerste ik is als je die en die is niet dat is een Leo shares en met de andere firebase je get er op. Dat is meaning if and the that's zero else we need to so okay mixes in that else but Larry he's to clear if no matter what but in the that's it about nest no in here is we gaan met zit let's you see cell wolf on the b cell is not her sharp along das ja has nicht dus gaat de propositie ask is zelf was niet when yeah Windows Alps no I you start hand full but a structure with the exhaust in blob going it under the ocean Hörsen was so alles so nicht so der so dort alles no one ding it was machen it durch get a little time in iron start and action gelebt me have you bomb so in no sounds as expert the which snaps slash that add up there so that you very hush was flex this is the way here rest of it so wet and they going get slow wet the level is so as you see no ik verwacht dat je de dingen in afspelen en dat wil ook dus dat zie je hier persoonlijk echt niet door het beschermen dat het nee zie je dus ik gaat eigenlijk goed zie je wel echt in de nacht kan ik zie niet uit of kan ik zie niet meer dat sorry niet veel te veel dat die veel white people we need heel snel dat zie je wanneer elder heel niet de burger nu weer o skill alles dat is in de eerste ik dan heel echt die dat is nog niet heel keer voor dat is ik zo zien nee
I'm a soccer there, and that's an exceedingly phenomenal. I surf like women. And then after it, and super missing else on the super months, the assault, not external. For all, and it's with the line there, the hair off feeler, real one. Cern of what you the worry lying in the V and I can get through it. Helps in ill sooner for what I'm using ours niggas who but I'm meaning in my keep them the last deck I leave skim. Then I'll learn him and not snarl so get Harry fits the get me won't be able to listen to our shit cast فدخ قصة ينافس كي ويش كساعد اللي فانا النبي together for able to that idea like what we heard able to learn it in this and surf ever believe it must need it Red beer. Hey, the see on here, able to look up and in a sama. Heard up able to naps. Hey, we get the less. Yelling it must that. He say, I only swear to lock you, or that.
You're good at the little I went out there. The second of is on and the phone. Yeah, without sea, sure, he don't know for his net. Slightly, so that's the reason I Miguel, the normal we are, was even the very other end the she is very option of it looks a render. And then that's this and okay, you can get the key, and we on the weather was and we're used to get the thing up in the dog south in the west, where I think it's such a josie blessed. All your flushing is the worst thing about skilliamtion all of the look and if we had look and action the show which this and surfaces and the line you're often the year like these selves of that sniddies for the very help then no making on those with you.
There's half a little now not safe that they could even see me here for that there's sharp bill and this is the burps of the master and from his alley or he'll scout us the person illusion or so when you give it such a report now please say our frost was here to get a flag us she might be that they could leave over mouse now you just sit there sit off the such very soon if you're scarce and lean and more peace and that gosh just name but that's in the cat or hey the nest center my that exactly that of now and there if there's not sit call bed our snary not a recluse next oh and on you me the see scash here in this thing up says kind of off for the English singers
the little stuff and I hear a beef. Sees there, you can get the low, the alpha low, now and then the ones in the low, that's when you master. See, I was the stuff, and then you saw all and I had boxes, and then you see me, I'm looking at oh, under the naps, gets half stuff, fail, but you see the next to remember that. They happen yeah, we need to the snaps get it in here. The whole spam set the bishops and versions shall ich auch irgendwas hier.
He say I will or free, you know I'm not gonna stop a wall with war me. And if I be here where I see that he's here for those master fucking Sarah now Zach he say I will no we so girls marry in the sea even if from a room set the set on the end of my call and I'm not get flat soon on all was it or he surf flatness and you see Sarah for shops and must like see Sarah we been married.
Så det som är mosaic and all air gear boats and get back and get the that document be sell the facilitators medium near for skeletons when you spend all the field all your runs the self set we see they get self on the field he was not and was new very the users on all say I love the off you know so let's see English next must be first and also
Great man outside of the gang in the ground was make lost some new worries once this out we see slow now found my steer get and equals it great man out they're off my ear bear there are aesthetics I end up my calling us out of the surf at the regular snake slow now found my see because we go eat every of us no
He's never been home to trace the athletics.